Welcome back. We have been encouraged by Ms. Paula Isaac Baraya to the 11 steps of exporting. We've already been educated on the 1, 2, 3 foreign trade and port Everglades by Donna Young and Robert Barcelo. Well, now we'd love to hear from Mr. John Zingale. Mr. John Zingale is a high impact partner in the Grow with Google program and has helped local business grow their online presence since 2005. John specializes in business marketing. He creates, manages, and optimizes online video advertising campaigns for local businesses. Utilizing pinpoint marketing strategies afforded by Google's analytical tools, these marketing campaigns employ fact-based decisions derived from big data and delivers measurable results as revenue. Well, without further ado, I'd love to introduce and present to you Mr. John Zingale.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. All right, so welcome everybody. Today we're going to learn about all the vital tools you need for your business to be found on Google and the internet in general, and how to get the most out of your website and your advertising dollar. Just way to get the presentation up here. Not sure if it's, I don't see the, here we go. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to get it up on my screen. There we go. Okay. All right, welcome everyone. So today we're going to learn how to reach customers online with Google. So let's get right down to it here. One of the ways that we find things today, inevitably, is through the internet. That's going to be through our phones, through our computers, and ultimately that portal we use is Google. There we go. Okay, next slide. Okay, so in moments that matter, one of the things that we're looking for targeting our audience is really looking at where most people are looking for the answers that they want. So right now, the growth for searches on Google businesses over the years has been over 80%. So local businesses near me, support your local businesses, any kind of business that's driven by a certain type of owner. 61% of consumers thinking buying online or picking up in a store will be a way for them to shop is Google. This is going to be a big change and a shift in the way the market has been growing, and it's an important time now to get on board with using these tools for your business. Okay, so with our agenda, we're going to go over the ways Google search works so you can understand the nuts and bolts of the way the searches actually function. We're going to learn how to reach customers with search engine optimization. This sometimes is a confusing term. We've heard about SEO optimizing and things like that, but really we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of it because Google is a search engine and it is over 80% of the search engine market. So it's worth your efforts and your money to really focus on optimizing your results within the Google search engine. Create your business profile, which is a term on Google for your business listing. Amplify online advertising, any kind of advertising you're doing online, whether it's through your website or through Google or video. We'll show you ways that you can amplify that. And we'll go recap all these resources. How Google search works. Before I get on to this part here, I just want to let the audience know if you do have any questions that you could put them through to the moderator and they'll be able to stop me here so I can focus on answering any details you guys might have within this presentation. Okay, so it starts with a search. We go to the Google search page, whether on their phones or on their computers, and we type in the terms that we're looking to search, the information we want, the place we want to find, the things we want to buy. And it ends with the page of answers. Now, what we have here is the anatomy of how our search results look. This example here is on a desktop. So let me go over this really briefly because this really gets to the foundations of what search engine optimization is all about. We have a text ad on this top part here. This text ad is a paid advertisement, okay? This does not work directly through the search results, but through the Google Ads tool. Below that, we have the organic results. These are just strictly informational results that the search engine has found relevant within the whole and constructs them as an organized result list. And to the right of that is what we have, it's called the business profile. This is where we'll have all the relevant information to find your business, to learn what other people have interacted with your business, pictures of your business, products, anything that you're promoting at the time. It's essentially like your online brochure is what I call this. And an advantage to this is that this space here on the right is not really for sale for advertising. This space essentially is your business list, and it's customized to the way you want it to be. The content in here is the content that you provide to Google for the most part. Now, on the other side, the absence of you contributing to this profile, Google wants to fill it in with something. It tends to scrape whatever it can find off the internet, which might not be the pictures or the information that you want presented to your public. That's why it's very important to claim this listing and to be able to control the content that's displayed here. Another thing I want to really emphasize about the search result page, on the left side, whether it's the text ads or the organic results, these are all words. They're just black squiggly lines to most people. On the right side with your business profile, it's going to be a dynamic, interactive, visual a way of communicating the information about your business. We're going to have pictures there. You could have a virtual tour, map directions. All of these things are assembled very visually within that business profile. So by thinking about the way people like to interact these days, less so with reading, more so visually, that you get a stronger impact with your audience by really focusing on the messaging within your business. Okay, let's proceed. So behind the scenes, this is basically how Google really works. Technically, I guess you could say it's not a search engine, it's really a search index, but it does employ search engines to develop this index. And the index just allows it to bring you results much faster than if it had to actually go out and crawl the web for every search you put into it. Another advantage of the indexing is that Google is able to rank that information as far as the relevance concerning you with your personal profile, which includes your location, any other data it has about your previous searches and purchases and things like that. And it helps assemble that so that that information is brought to you prioritized according to your preferences. Okay, so now that we know how this all works in the background, we want to be able to reach our customers with the search engine. How do we do this? Organic results in the Google search engine are essentially brought from the web itself. So by having a good internet footprint, meaning that your website, any other social media, blogs, anything else that you would have associated with your business is easily associated with your business. That way it aids the search engines to be able to aggregate all this information into a search result that focuses on your business or your business offerings. So the organic search results appear in the area of the search result page. It's just below the ads. And this page changes to the most relevant results for the searcher, also to the time that you're doing your search. So it can change over the days or weeks, even hours. And that's the organic part of it. That's the part really paid, but that's your internet footprint. So the other things that you do within the internet are going to influence the results you see on this page, or this section of the page, I should say, which is the organic search results. Okay, so what is SEO? Search engine optimization. It's a process of making your website or about your business better for search engines. And considering that Google is the main search engine out there, we're looking 80 to 90% of all search engine activity is through Google, that we could kind of focus most of our business marketing into this search engine ecosystem and get the best return on our investment. And that's why I like to focus on Google SEO as opposed to doing other ones, because really when you move outside of Google, you're really working at about 5 to 10% at most of the market. And if you really want to get the best bang for your buck, you want to work on the 80, 90%. So that being said, Quick tip here we have is learn more by reading Google Search Engine Optimization Starter Guide. And we have a link here, and we'll have all these links for you too at the end of the presentation too, if you want. That gets very technical, but I'll make it really simple for you. If you just do all the things that we're kind of going over in this presentation and the common sense things of keeping your business information up to date, that is search engine optimization. The search engines will pick up on that, and you will be rewarded more and more as time goes on if you continually contribute relevant information to Google about your business. Again, Google is your major search engine. So that being said, this is where I like to make sure we do everything correct on this end to get the best return for your investment money in advertising. So make your website more visible to search for product, services, or brand. That means keep the relevant content on your website up. Connect with customers, actively looking for products and services that you offer. So the services you offer and the products, you need to make sure those are displayed on your website continually, and the ones you don't are off so that you don't get irrelevant results that end up reducing your ranking. You want to increase your potential sales by appearing more prominently in the search results. This typically means showing up either if it's products in the product carousel at the top of search results, and if you're doing services, you just want to be in the top ranking, the top page, the top of the map pack, meaning the listings of in the maps, Google Maps of businesses if you have a physical location. So this is where we need to make sure that our business is appearing correctly, and that's probably a good chunk of your SEO that you really need to be concerned with first. Next, content is the key. So of course, great content is the holy grail of this all. We want to have quality content. The saying sometimes goes, bad pictures are worse than no pictures. So you want to kind of have control of the content that shows up on the internet as much as possible. And when you do provide content, you want to make sure it's of the best quality, because really no one else is going to put better quality than the business owner, and you need to have that standard somewhat high. Okay, use page titles and descriptions. So of course, each web page within your website should have all the essential descriptions for search results that pick up this metadata that's associated with your website. This isn't information that people see on your website when they're actually there, but when your website or a page of your website comes up in search results, it's basically a human type description for people to read now that the search engine will display. So this isn't really something that the search engine itself picks up on. It's something for humans to read, but it needs to be there. If a search engine sees it's missing descriptions for any of your web pages, then it does lower the ranking because it cannot give as rich of a result and relevant of a result to the user. Ultimately, Google's goal is to give users the most relevant information for their search results. So as long as you're aligned with that goal of Google, providing the most relevant information for your users, which should be aligned with Google's goal, you'll be rewarded by the higher ranking and all these benefits we just talked about here. So next is Google Trends. If you happen to be in any of the industries where there's a lot of activity of search, and I should say more competitive industries, then you might be more interested in Google Trends too. Google Trends helps you pick up on what people are doing and what they may be doing more of or less of in the future, so you can make effective business strategy decisions and planning. You can find out what kind of content is the best to be using for your advertising, and you can also find out the types of promotions, types of interest, and specific products that people might be showing more interest into over time or less of. So you can help basically figure out how you want to budget your marketing for specific products and services, and also for your in-store sales, stock, and services provided, new services, because this is also a good discovery tool for finding out new things that people are looking for to help you get ahead of the curve, which is what trends are. And it's a statistical tool. It might not be the easiest one to use at first, but as you get to use it, it's got a rather good interface, and you'll start to learn a lot of different ways that you can glean information you would normally never even think of. So it really helps you make creative decisions as far as your business goes. And we'll have links to that too. Okay, so we have an activity that we can do this, of course, on your own time, but We have a handout too to help you along with this, but let me just quickly tell you what we would go through. You'd open your web browser and visit Google Trends. And you enter some words that are related to your business, maybe products, services you do, and then compare those by location, adjust your date range, and then you can look at they'll have some other related queries or related terms that might help guide you down another path that might help lead to more discovery. This can also show you where maybe a product was really performing well or was getting a lot of attention, and then it dropped off. Maybe something else has taken over that. Google Trends will help you find that. And one of the nice things about a tool like Google Trends, as opposed to things like analytics that are just looking at what has happened previously to your website, Google Trends gives you enough data from what Google collects, which is just billions of data points. It allows you to actually make predictive calculations as far as extra search results, product purchases, and other kinds of queries. Essentially, this tool is the difference between driving looking in a rearview mirror or looking forward. When you're looking at analytics, you're measuring past business data and performance. It's like looking in the rearview mirror. It doesn't really tell you what's ahead. With Google Trends, you have enough data to see, moving averages and things like that allow this predictive ability to see where things are going in the future, so you can make more effective planning. Okay, designed for speed and usability, fast load time. These are standards that you need to make sure your web developer is on top of. Mobile, it's 3 seconds. Your site should be loading within 3 seconds or you're just going to lose people. All browsers and devices. It should work on all browsers, and depending on your market, if you're working internationally, you need to work with some of the older browsers too, because not everyone has the latest and greatest outside the States. So the backwards compatibility is important. Also the resources. So you could use things like Google's Test My Site, Search Console, Google Analytics. There's a lot of resources that Google has just to measure how effective your site technically is making it to the audience. So the Test My Site is a great one. Of course, we're going to give you all these links at the end. Everyone should try this on their site just to make sure it's up to snuff. If your mobile site is not loading quickly, you're losing all your mobile customers practically, and mobile is the bulk right now of sales. If you're looking at sales or calls for leads, that's going to be coming from mobile devices. So you need to make sure this is optimized for your mobile devices. And this tool right here will tell you if you're in that realm or not, or if there needs to be adjustments. It also gives you some rudimentary advice on how to improve it if you're not up to snuff, and that you could easily follow forward to your developer, or if you're developing your website yourself, take those into consideration. Okay, the Google Search Console is another great tool for the web developers or for site. It confirms the way that the users are going to see the data about your business and about your website, how the descriptions appear, what imagery shows up for which pages and which searches. This one here is another one where your web developer can get good advice, or if you're developing your site yourself, it'll give you a lot of pointers and directions to go to keep it up to optimized level. And of course, you can set up alerts and things like that with the Search Console. But the Search Console is essentially something that every website, you should have this tool connected to it, along with the analytics, which we're going to get to next. Okay, so the activity for this one too, which we'll have on our worksheet here, is go to google.com, search for the words and phrases that should surface your business. Typically, your business name is a good one to start with. Make sure your branded search shows up well. Typically, if people are searching for your business name, your business really should show up first with the business listing on the right side. And if it's not, then you probably have a few things to optimize within this Search Console will help guide you to those. And if other sites are showing up instead of yours, then you might want to do a little bit of reverse engineering and figure out why their site is showing up instead of yours, what you're missing and what gaps are there that you need to fix. And of course, at that time, you'd probably want to figure out what other things you could do to further optimize so you can get ahead of your competition. All right, now we're getting on to creating your business profile. I hope everyone's been following along. I know it's been very technical up to this point. But right now we're going to get into working with the Google My Business tool, which is the foundation of your business profile on Google. So the business profile helps you stand out on Google. As I mentioned earlier, the business profile on the right, it really dynamic, interactive, visual part of a search result. On the left side, you just get a lot of black squiggly lines that people really don't read anymore. So how do you create this business profile? So the first thing you're going to do is you need to have a Google profile. So if you have already a Gmail or you have a Google account, you can use that. Now, this Google account will not be public facing, strictly for Google to have a personal contact to you, the business owner, that is going to be able to verify that you are the legitimate business owner or representative of that business. And this allows you to contribute content directly to Google without it having to go through further review. Okay. So to make the most of your business profile, we need to complete the business info part, which is a general housekeeping part of this. And you want to be able to get your business hours, address, the map pin on the map exactly to where your business is. I'll give you a little tip here. When you are moving a map pin to adjust your business, typically keep it just around the front door of the business physically, not necessarily in the middle of it, because sometimes they'll give directions to the back access. It's not, the map pin's not close enough to the front access road. It all depends on the setting and other businesses around you. But typically I've found that to get the best consistent results for driving directions, keeping that map pin near the front door of your business. Okay, adding photos and videos. As we all know, content is king, and having good quality photos and videos about your business are really going to get attention from your audience. Think of it like this. If someone is looking for your subject matter, whatever your business is related to, they're going to get search results. Google's going to deliver them search results. Within those results, what would make you stand out from the others? Think about that. And that should help guide you to what kind of pictures and videos you want to be uploading. Because it's really not about here's what I do, but here's what makes me unique or what's valuable to the user. And that's really focus on for these types of photos and videos. So if it's a restaurant or something, you need really nice pictures of food. You know, if it's a service of some sort, a personal fitness trainer or something, you know, you want to show pictures of you working, you know, within that environment in the best light possibly, so people could imagine themselves, oh, okay, this is where I want to be, or I want this person doing this for me. So this brings us to engaging with customers, a great tool that Google has added. And I was along with this when they were first beta testing it, and I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And it was quite a bumpy road because allowing, you know, individuals to produce content that goes directly onto Google and out to the public, to billions of people within minutes, is a high risk for Google to do, if you think about it. It really had to build up, you know, at first with trusted partners as myself, and then little by little, it's kind of been able to get the artificial intelligence to be able to screen, you know, content in such a way that allows unencumbered posting of your business content that's relevant, while still allowing Google the security of being able to keep, you know, inappropriate content from appearing to the masses without any kind of check. That being said, this product now is very mature, and I can say that it is one of the best things since sliced bread when it comes to SEO. Your Google My Business page comes to you with no cost other than you interacting with it and producing the content. So the only costs you really incur are your content production costs, whether it's photographs, videos, text ads, promotions and coupons and such. So I'm going to get into this right now and show you how incredible some of these things are. So one of the first things we have are the posts, which I was just mentioning to you. These are basically like free advertisements that you are able to put on your Google business listing, which is also, no one else has access to that. That's only for you. Another thing is the reviews. This is where you interact with other users, the users that create content for you, essentially, in the form of reviews. When you have a user, and all users that leave reviews on Google are verified through Google, so there's always going to be, you know, a few exceptions, but for the bulk of the majority, they're verified reviews of real people that are actually going to these places. And Google has various ways of checking on this, and usually the bad ones don't even make it out. They get screened and deleted before they even appear. And if there are ones that are inappropriate, it's a pretty good process now for addressing that. That being said, the value of these Google reviews is that they are unbiased. They are basically supposed to be free speech, as long as they're not lying or disparaging in a way that could cause harm. So they're not always going to be good, but the thing you got to understand is that they should be a way for the public to have trust, because there is that level of unbiased freedom that's within them. That being said, if you're managing your reviews appropriately, then you should be encouraging as many good reviews as possible, so that when those exceptions do show up, which could be disgruntled employees, could be competitors, could be anything like that, which would be very hard to eliminate, but they get thrown away by the mix when you have so many good reviews that overshadow them. Okay, and then the other way we engage with customers through the Google My Business is through the messages. So this is a way that people can actually message you directly from the Google My Business page through their phones to message you directly to get an immediate answer to a question. Depending on your business, this could be very effective, and other businesses that don't have anything to do with it. So this is an option that you do have within the Google My Business dashboard that you can turn on or off. Okay, so next step would be to visit google.com/business or business.google.com. You'll claim your business profile. Let me explain this. Claiming your business profile means you first need to come in with a Google account or a Gmail address. It doesn't matter which one it is, and this will not be public facing. This is just a way for Google to contact you and to verify that you are the legitimate owner or representative of the business. One way of them doing this is requesting a postcard. So they'll send a postcard to the physical business address, and that postcard will have a PIN number on it, and you'll use that PIN number to activate the dashboard and to verify your listing. Sometimes if you've already had an established Google profile or contact or website on for an extended amount of time, there are times where it'll allow a phone verification or other types of verification, but it will give you those options at the time, and that depends on the information that Google already has on file. Okay, and in the meantime, you can still do the housekeeping chores, which I mentioned about your business info, the address, the business hours, etc. That can be done in the meantime so that it's ready to hit the road running when you do get it verified. Okay, now we're going to learn to amplify what we just talked about with online advertising. This is where the money goes in to try to make this stuff work even harder. So all the ads that we do through the Google Ads tool. So Google Ads used to be called Google AdWords, but this is the paid advertising tool that's through Google itself. And this works directly into Google search. It also interacts with partner websites, which does include other Google assets such as YouTube and Google Maps. Also, it works with other partners that I should say is sell space to Google, that Google also purchases maybe in bulk, and will also promote you through those partners. So you're going to reach people who are searching for your products or services. You can control your ads and budget. One of the nice things about the control of your budget with Google Ads is that you can turn it on or off at any time. If you're a small business and you need to go on vacation for 2 weeks, you could shut it off for 2 weeks. You're not going to be billed a penny for those 2 weeks it shut off. When you get back, you shut it right back on. There's no extra fees or anything for that. You only pay when customers take action. So when the ad shows up, you don't pay anything for that. You only pay when people click on it or engage with it another way. If it's a video, they watch it. Other than that, you don't pay for it. Now, it doesn't mean that it's just free to push out there, because Google really tries to put the relevant out there. It wants clicks. Of course, it wants to get paid, but at the same time, If it throws up ads that people don't click on, then it means it's irrelevant ads it's putting out there, and it's not meeting its goal of putting out the most relevant information for the people searching. Okay, another nice thing is that you can track and measure your successes. This is a very important part of the Google Ads tool because this allows you to see the effectiveness of your ad spend and to make sure that you're getting the best return on your ad spend. And one of the goals I do with marketing with Google Ads is that we want to see an increasing return on your ad spend over time. So for every dollar you spend advertising, you should get more in return as time goes on, and you optimize these ads and you optimize this whole ecosystem of videos, ads, map listings, etc. Okay, so you can start advertising with smart campaigns. If you decide to hire an agency or something like that, they may be doing all this stuff for you here. But if you just want to kind of understand some of these things from the start, we're going to go over so you can understand how you could get this going even at a low budget to see how things are moving. Now, I'll say this much, is that the smart campaigns have been evolving. They've gotten a lot better. When they started out, it was, I tried them out with some clients, but they just couldn't outdo the ones with the manual bidding and the manual campaigns. But there's been a big shift going on right now with privacy. And the thing is that there's going to be less targeting of the way we were able to do it before with people's profiles because of this. And now what the shift has become is that Google has been able to anonymously categorize large groups of people into various different types of affinities, topic interests, these kinds of things, purchases, locations, and they group them into various ways like this. And this is the new way of targeting. Smart campaigns really get into that without having to understand too much of this new categorization scheme that's been going on. And as more and more of this scheme has become more relevant as far as the way privacy is being engaged and ad tracking is being reduced, these smart campaigns are becoming more effective. However, all the tools that you see within the smart campaigns, we can still do manually. So again, with any kind of campaign, you still need to go through these steps. We're going to go over this. You need to decide what the goal is. What action should people take? What are you trying to drive? Are you trying to drive online sales? Do you want people to show up at your business? Do you need people to call up and ask questions? Do you want to send in emails for a quote? You decide on what the goal is first. From there, we decide a campaign for that goal. You can have multiple campaigns within your account for different goals, but that goal is going to drive your campaign. Okay, next, you want to connect your business profile or enter your business info. If you have a business profile, if you do have your Google My Business site, I behoove you to hook it up to your Google Ads. There are a lot of features that automatically turn on from this that you cannot access any other way unless it's connected with your Google My Business listing. It shows you how to do it within the Google Ads tool, but it's an important part to do, and it takes a little bit of making sure the profiles are aligned, but it definitely reaps great benefits. Okay, we need to identify and create a relevant web page to connect your ad. It could be your homepage if you just need to direct people to your homepage. It could be to a product page if it's a product campaign, etc. It could be to a lead page if you're just trying to get leads, depending on what type of goal. If it's a video campaign, perhaps you're just trying to get people to go to your video channel or to watch a video. Okay, next is write a compelling ad. Even with video ads, you still have to write a compelling ad. They're just going to be very short. The video ads come with what's called a banner. The banner is going to have a headline on it, and it's going to have a call to action click button if you elect to do this. If you're paying to do this, I highly recommend you elect to do this because we're trying to drive action. I mean, there's other benefits such as getting the conversion tracking that we get from people watching videos, but it doesn't cost anything extra to put a call to action banner on there. And this is where best measurement, because the view counts, but is what you pay for. But when they click on the banner, it's free and it's actually driving action. And believe it or not, I've had some full funnel solutions that work from video right to purchase because of this banner, skipping all the other steps of the customer journey in between. Not that this happens all the time, but it happens enough to know that it's worth doing. Okay, choose keyword themes and locations where the ad can appear. The locations are important. Yeah, sure. If you're selling online, you'd like to sell the whole world. But the thing is, you've got to spread your budget way too thin doing that. Concentrate where you get the best results. Perhaps it's a local area, maybe shipping costs or something that you're absorbing. So you want to keep it within where shipping costs are lower. That's where you'd advertise first. If you advertise in too large of an area, you end up losing your ranking. You fall up to the second, third page of listing where people are not going to find you as much. So better to focus on a smaller area and dominate that area, and you'll get much better results much more quickly. We're fortunate enough here to live in South Florida, which is a very lucrative area as far as marketing. I mean, we have 2 coasts in this state here that, you know, represents millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars of commerce online every month. So it's something worth, you know, thinking about focusing your location. And with the Google Ads tool, you could focus as precisely as a zip code, a small municipality, even in an airport area or a university. So it's very precise targeting you can do. You can change this with time too and measure, which is another good thing about the measurement tools. Okay, we got to set a daily budget, of course, and that's how much you want the Google Ads tool to spend within the day, and then it'll cut off your ads. And you can basically set it so it will space it out through the day or certain hours of the day, on, off, however you want to do it. But it allows you to have full control of that budget. Last is launch. And that happens pretty much immediately or as soon as your ads get approved, which is usually within a few hours. So let's walk through this really quick. So we select a goal, which you'll do through the interface here. If you already have your business profile, which you should do, and this is a good time to hook it up to the whole account right here, this little tool. Enter your business name as should appear in the ads. This is the web page, which we also call a landing page. This is the page that people will arrive on when they click on your ad. So think of it this way, is that when people click on that, they saw an ad, they see click here for this or buy now or whatever it is. When they click on that, they want further information that's directly related to the ad they just read. If you bring them to a page that has nothing to do with that, or they need to look for, oh, where's that product page? And then there's a bunch of clicks to find the page to continue on the thought that you just brought them to, that's not going to work as well as bring them directly to the page that continues the thought that you started with the ad. And this is what people would see. So it gives you some examples of the ads on phones and on desktop, computer, or laptop. And then the 3 headlines, 2 descriptions. You can always do more. Again, if you have an agency, they would be doing all this creative for you. If you're doing it yourself, then you just have to follow these guidelines here. And there's a lot of restrictions as far as character limits and punctuation, things like that. You can't put excessive exclamation points and things like that in there. There are some guidelines that you just want to follow within that, and it will definitely alert you to those. However, this is where a lot of the time goes into these creatives, and you really have to put yourself in the search result. When someone's searching for a keyword, they're asking a question. So essentially, these headlines and these descriptions should be providing an answer to a question in some way, or restating the question and then providing a solution. Okay, so keyword themes. The keywords are essentially the search terms.
John, we have a question.
Oh, great, sorry.
Are there any, does Google offer any technical assistance while someone is building their website?
I'm sorry, building their website or their account?
Their account.
Oh, their account.
Yes.
You know, historically, Google has, when you're spending a high budget amount, they will assign an account specialist for you. And I've worked with them in the past. In the distant past, they used to have some a really good assistance. Now it seems like that it's just rudimentary assistance. So if it's just the initial setup stuff, then you'll find a lot of good help there. If you're looking for more advanced things, you're best really finding out a good ad agency. That's what we do, is we basically perform these best practices and constantly update them. I'm constantly working with all the new things. I mean, even this presentation just came out 8 days ago. It's just been revamped. So, I'm always on top of the newest things coming out, and that's basically what I provide for my clients. So that's something that you probably want to seek out if you need that kind of assistance. Other than that, if it's just a rudimentary setup and you don't really have too high of a budget and you really want to get some extra business coming in through Google, then you can use you will have an opportunity to request an account specialist. I just can't guarantee on the quality for advanced techniques that they'll provide you with, but you can always reach out to me. I'm always here to help too for the people in Miramar. So if you have any basic questions, you can always, my contact information should be at the end of this, and you can always reach out to me, and I'm always happy to help with that too, or to guide you where you can find more of those answers. Okay, does that answer the question? I think we have a delay here, so I'm just going to keep going. And if there's anything...
Yes, John, you have a lot of questions coming in now.
Oh, great. Then shoot off.
Right. Okay. The next question is how can we connect my website to Google, add it to my SCRM or landing page?
To connect your website?
Yeah. How can I connect my website to Google, add it to my CRM or landing page?
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to do the business profile for your business. By doing that, you've really established your connection with your business to Google, and that's at no cost. Now, when you want to connect other third-party tools to this, depending on the CRM tool, some of them do have integration with Google My Business. It depends on the tool. They have partnerships with some of them, and there's more as time goes on. So that's something that you could check with your CRM software developer, or you could check with the Google My Business. It should have whatever the latest updates are. I know there's things like for bookings for hairstylists and such. There's several different kinds of third-party vendors that actually connect directly to the Google account, and that's increasing. There's more and more of those all the time. So if you're using a major developer product like that, then chances are it will have an interface to connect with Google My Business.
Thank you. And last question I have here is, what is considered a high budget amount?
Okay. Well, several hundred a day is a budgeted amount. I mean, if you're over $100 a day, I think they use to assign an account manager. But even if you're less than that, you could still get an account specialist.
Okay. All right. And we will have this presentation available to our participants, correct?
I believe so. We also have a handout in the PDF that I sent to you guys. So if you could distribute that, that'd be great.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
That is it for now. So we can go right ahead.
Great. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the keyword theme. So we went over this. Let me get the next one here. Okay, where your ads appear. So yeah, so here's where I was talking about. We can adjust the ads to appear within a zip code, within a municipality, within a whole state, within a whole country. You determine how wide or narrow the targeting will be. And you can also assign different budget adjustments for that. So if you wanted to say one neighborhood, you want to have 50% more of the budget go to that neighborhood than another, you can do that as well. So very, very robust tools for location targeting within the Google Ads tool. And it's only getting better. I mean, as time's gone on, it's only gotten better. So I've been really happy with the targeting tool. Sometimes it could get so tight in targeting that your ads won't run because it loses anonymity, depending on what your industry is. When there's a very small search volume and you target such a small location, you could almost personally identify the people clicking, and Google doesn't want that. So again, this type of tool is really built for large volume. So when you're at the large volume, you can pretty much do all these things, and you get the high volume of leads that you're looking for. And setting your daily budget. So there's different ways of setting the budget. A daily budget is a good one that I've found, it satisfies everyone. And if you're in there adjusting it regularly, you can make sure that the budget's spending correctly or not. You can make adjustments very readily. Whereas you do monthly budgets, it sometimes takes a little bit longer to figure out if there's something going on right or wrong. And the same thing with a set amount. Essentially, the daily budget is the most flexible way I've found for doing this and controlling it and making sure you're optimizing every aspect of the account. But you do one that makes sense for you. Again, some rules of thumb. I mean, if it's 10% of marketing budget of your what you can afford to spend, as much of that as possible, I would have into the Google tools, because get your highest return on investment. Another thing is that you got to consider that with these types of tools, even if you shut it off, all the extra attention you have gotten over the months or years or however long you've been running your ad campaigns, this builds up, some credentials within Google with your business and your content, so that even when you shut it off, you're still going to get residual benefits for years to come. And when you turn it back on, all those benefits are still there waiting for you. So it's not like a newspaper or television or radio where it's here, they hear it, and it's gone. It's just in the thin air, never to be interacted with or useful again. So that's one thing to consider when you're spending your money here. Even if you don't get results directly right away, all those clicks, Google remembers. All the views to your videos, Google remembers. And it knows people interacted with you before, and it's going to look at you as a relevant result next time it needs something to show to a user that's searching for your subject matter. It's going to have something there it knows people interacted with before, which sets you at a higher ranking than perhaps new content. So again, this type of budget is well spent, and if it ever gets out of hand, you can always just shut it right off. So it's very flexible in that respect too. Okay, so here we go. View your campaign and launch. So at this point, this is where you set up the time restraints, make sure everything is set correctly for your locations, and etc. Now what? So the ad variations. So this is something that goes on usually with the agencies stuff that we will follow up a lot. Negative keyword themes. So if, let's say, you're repairing refrigerators, but you don't sell them. So when people are looking to buy them, you don't want your ads to show up. So you would use, buy refrigerators and things like that into negative keyword themes to prevent your ad from showing where it's not relevant. Also, you want to also be creating, variations of your ad, because you don't want the same ads to constantly be showing up. Also, there's going to be some other new ads that you're going to want to put up when you start seeing other suggestions that Google will put up saying, hey, these keywords are getting a higher search volume. So perhaps, that's something you should make some more ads. Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Sorry, I can't hear you.
The chat. The chat.
Oh, chat. There we go. Hey, there it is. Oh, I get you. Okay. Oh, I didn't even realize the time. Okay, great. So we're right at the end of here anyways. Let me get this chat off of here and continue. Okay, so recap resources. Again, we have text ads, organic results, all that on the left side. Those are the black squiggly lines that people don't read anymore. Your business profile is on the right with the pictures, the interactive, dynamic content that engages people and drives them to action. The right side is free. You just have to provide your content. The text ads on the top, you pay for. Organic results, you work for. Next steps. Help your website appear on Google's organic search results. So you're going to use trends, test my site, and the search console. I put number 1 here for if you have a business, create a free business profile on the google.com/business. That should be number 1 priority. And then 3, use Google Ads to reach more potential customers online. Ads.google.com, that's how you amplify your presence with money. And we have all these great resources here that I talked about that will be in this presentation that I believe the City of Miramar will be distributing for those that need it. Also, this Google Primer, we didn't go over it in the presentation, but For people that are looking to do some of this marketing themselves for their business or starting out, they don't have really a budget for an agency. This is a really good starter thing here that's to help get you up to speed with some of the basics of these so that you don't misstep. And continuing education with Google On Air, lots of videos and things that we can use for learning. And you can also register for other virtual workshops. Of course, the best ones are the live ones we do here at the city of Miramar. And Primer, here it is. This is what I was talking about. So great little mini courses that you can take here, getting up to speed with marketing, and really nicely presented. And they don't take much of your time, but will really help you make better decisions and answer simple questions. And other free online training from Grow with Google for teachers, students, local businesses, job seekers, and developers if you're learning to code. We have it all at Google. And all this will be on your handouts here. So what are you going to do today? I hope everyone's going to get their Google My Business listing up and running and get some engaging content there. Start seeing some more customers come through your door. And thank you all. And thank you for the City of Miramar for allowing us to make this presentation. And again, my contact information should be there. If you have any specific questions about the presentation today, I'd be happy to answer those questions too. And we have a whole ton of resources for you there with Google. And again, I thank you for your time.
And we thank you for being with us today. We appreciate everything that Google does for the businesses and our community and all over the world. So we asked, we're going to make sure that the presentation is available to our participants. And if they have any follow-up questions for you, they will contact you in a later date. Okay?
Great.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the
Expo.
All right. Well, welcome. We have just heard from Mr. John Zingale, who explained to us how to boost our online presence. Well, now we have another guest speaker with us today, which is Mr. Victor Biggs. Mr. Victor Biggs has 15 years plus as an executive and successes in business development. And the public and private sector has been a testament to his passion and legacy. He was fortunate to work alongside some of the top philanthropists and learn about the importance of real estate and creating wealth. Victor's experience in real estate and business development started in New York City and later funding housing projects around the world, as well as an executive director for the $65 multi-million American Veterans Life Memorial Foundation, interacted as the National Monument for Disabled Veterans in our nation's capital. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you Mr. Victor Biggs.
Hey, Johnny, Mr. Douglas, how are you?
How are
Thank you for having me on today. It's really a pleasure to be on today. I would like to go ahead and maybe start sharing my screen if I could. While I'm sharing my screen, I would just want to thank the city of Miramar for the amazing support that you're giving to the business community. And so as I share my screen today, let's see if we can get that started. Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Victor Biggs. Certainly, before we get started today, I want to discuss our topic. It's going to be how to connect. Connection is really the key for our discussion today. And so in order for us to start connecting, let's connect. You can't hear me. I can hear you, or you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So I'm going to do a tongue twister to you first for us to kind of break the ice. Let's try to do a Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Let's see how fast you can say that as you're listening to me today. Okay, let's do it. I obviously can't hear you, but you're probably in a room with others or you're by yourself. Let's give it a try. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Say it really, really fast. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and as fast as you can. So I don't know if you can maybe in the chat box tell me just how you're doing with it, how many of you got it. And here's a way to do it. Begin with the end in mind. One of the ways I learned to say that is to begin with the end in mind, which is pickled peppers. If you start with pickled peppers, then you can go backwards. So you start with peppers, you go with pickled, and then you go with peck, and then Peter Piper picked. So you think about pickled peppers, say that, pickled peppers. And then you can say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So today we're going to be talking about one, maybe begin with the end in mind. It's going to be an important part of how you connect with your, with how to improve your connection. So with that being said, let me just move forward just a little bit. My name is Victor Biggs. I'm Vice President for Development, work primarily in commercial real estate, sales and leasing at exclusivelyre.com. That's the name of our company. I partner with my wife, Bridget. And so today we're going to talk about practical ways to stay connected. And I want to also kind of transition this because many of you on the line are business owners or entrepreneurs. And certainly I want to make it also a profitable way for you to stay connected. As I try to figure out what's the best way to share this, I figured it's really, really important that you not just have practical ways to connect, but also profitable ways to connect as well. So my presentation today is going to be dealing with profitable ways in a practical way for you to connect with your audience. And in the way of making it profitable, here's what's going to happen. You'll have simple, no-cost strategies that at the end of my presentation today, my goal is that you can immediately increase your sales and your profits by $100,000, and we will be able to do that within 45 minutes. Ready to get started? Absolutely. As we think about getting started, one of the things that I want to share, you probably saw over the weekend a very, very important milestone in space. Richard Branson, I had the privilege of meeting Richard Branson about 20-something years ago in New York City. We was involved with a family business, and meeting Richard Branson, the family business at the time was in the recording industry, and the family was involved with at the time, they were in the recording business. And I met Richard Branson. He was a millionaire back then. He hasn't changed much. I met him, he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And I had no idea that this guy, Richard Branson, would eventually become a billionaire, a world shaker, and a history maker. And here's what I had in mind as I watched on Sunday when Richard Branson, of course, went into space with Virgin Galactica and his team. There were several takeaways, but one in particular that really, really impressed me was the fact that he took notes, that he mentioned that he took notes. But here's one of the things that why he said he took notes that's going to be very relevant to our discussion today. Richard Branson said that he took notes, but he also went into space because he wanted to get and feel and experience what his customers would. And he took notes pretty much so that he can actually improve and enhance the product and service that he was delivering. And so with that being said, I want to get into one, again, practical ways to stay connected. That lesson from Richard is pretty much sharing how important it is to try to get and understand your customer as best as you possibly can, and be a disciple that is committed to understanding who your customer is and how to connect and with your customer. So again, the strategies I'll share with you today is certainly going to help you. I guarantee if you really implement these, you can actually find ways to make $100,000 more from your business without spending a dime. So let's get started. If you think about your day on a daily basis, you probably heard about the 80-20 rule, which pretty simply means 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your activities. And I say that to say, for example, think about the things you're doing on a daily basis, and from start to finish, whatever results you're getting right now, I guarantee is because of your daily activities. So just keep in mind that 80% of the results you're getting and the success you're getting is really based on 20% of how you connect every day with your customers and with those that actually can move your business and your goals forward. So you're only doing a few things daily that I believe that makes you the most money for your business. So I want to share with you the 5 areas from a business perspective that if you focus on these 5 areas, they pretty much can make up the 5 key areas that will make up your 20% of what generates 80% of your revenues. If you focus on these 5 things, you will realize that I guarantee you will generate quickly, and you will think at the end, you'll think about ways at the end of my presentation today that you can actually triple your leads, double your sales, and double your bottom line. And so here we go. These are the 5 areas that if you think about them, you will actually generate more dollars. If you think about these ways, how to connect with your audience, you will definitely advance your business. So here are the 5 areas. 1, more leads. If you can figure out ways to generate more leads for your business on a day-to-day basis, more conversions, more transactions, how to find, if you can focus on more revenues and more profits. Again, if you focus on these 5 areas and your activities every day, focus on these 5 areas on more leads, more conversions, more transactions, more revenues, and more profits, you will actually triple your business. You'll double your bottom line, guaranteed. And these small incremental changes that I'll talk about today will produce big results for you and for your business. So let's continue. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use what I call the profit growth calculator that was developed by an organization of successful coaches in America. If you can see my screen, for example, if you are generating 1,000 leads per year, and say you're converting 25% of those leads, that means 1,000 leads, you're generating and converting 25% of those. That means you're now getting 250 customers. From those 250 customers that you're getting from your marketing activities, if you just have 10 transactions per year from each of those individuals, and each of those transactions is worth $100, you should be generating for your business revenues of $250,000 per year. Now, you obviously have expenses, and if your expenses are, say, 75%, that means your margins are 25%. So if your gross margin is 25%, so you're pretty much making a gross profit of $62,000 from that. So let's think about now, if you were to have more leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher prices, and more profits in those 5 areas, you will be amazed as to, if you're connecting with your customers, how that's going to incrementally and exponentially help your business. So let's get to it. So again, if you increase your leads by 10%, you now will have a baseline of 1,100 leads per year. And instead of 25% conversions, say you improve that by 10% so that you now have 27.5%. That means from your leads and your sales of 250 people, increase that by 10%, you now have 303 sales per year. Now, before you had 10 transactions per year, you now have 10% more, which is 11. Now, you're pretty much generating a transaction of $100 each time the customer buys from you. Increase that by 10%, you're looking at $110 just from a 10% increase. So therefore, your revenue now goes up to $368,000 per year. And if you increase your gross margin by 10% as well, become more efficient by 10%, you're looking at 27.7, 27.5 gross margins. That means your profit now goes to $100,000. Now, you can probably see just how a 10% increase can bring you from 62,000 to a 100,000 per year. Now, let's think for example, what if you were to increase that by 50%, right? Generate more leads, you have better ways to connect with your audience, and you then increase that by, say, 50%, hypothetically 50%. Let's go to it. Okay, so if you go to 50%, disregard the columns on top. I changed the format in my PowerPoint, so just follow me for a moment. That 1,500 represents a 50% increase. Although the columns say stand, it really is a 50% increase. So you're now going from 1,000 to 50% more. You're now generating and finding a way to generate 1,500 leads per year. And instead of converting 25%, you now find a way to increase it by 50% more. So you're looking at converting by 50% more. You're now converting 37.5% of the people that you're connecting with. Okay, now from that, right, you're looking at transactions that you once had at 10%. Let's increase that by 50%, right? Now, again, your sales have gone up from 250 to 563, although if you look at the numbers again, going back to, you increase your leads by 50% from 1,000 to 1,500. You increase your conversions by 50%, which means you went from 25% conversion to 37.5% conversion. Your sales now increase, not actually 50%, it almost doubles to 563. Now, let's now look at your transactions. And before, if your customers were pretty much buying from you 10 times per year, if you find a way to increase how frequently they buy from you by 50%, you then go to 15 activities per year with that customer, and say you try to find a way to generate more revenues each time, and say you're going 50% more, from $100, you go to $150. Look at the revenues that you will now have from just a 50% increase in your focus, in your 20% focus each day. That goes from $250,000 to $1.2 million per year in your revenues. Again, if you become more efficient in your gross margins, and instead of a 25% profitable gross margins, you become more efficient, and you go to a 37.5, which is 50% more efficiency, your bottom line goes from 62,000 per year to 474,000. Now, for some of you there that you have a small business and you're pretty much doing 62,000 per year in your bottom line, how would you like to move from 62,000 to 474? In our business, we actually double our revenues in the past year. So what we're saying to you is not just something that I'm saying academically, we've actually experienced that in our business as well. So let's look at those things that I believe that if you implement these things, you would definitely be able to be on your way to generating more revenues. And at the end of this presentation today, how would you like to find $100,000 new revenues in your business without spending an additional dime? I certainly would. and you will be able to do that as well. Let's get to it. So that's a 760% increase in your profitability by using the things that I'm about to show you now as far as connecting with your customers profitably. So let's get to it. So I'm going to show you of the 5 areas, I'm going to focus on 3 because time only permits me to share 3. So I'm sharing 3 breakthrough strategies being used by some of the world's top business coaches. And as a certified professional coach, I've used these as well in helping clients increase their revenues. I've actually worked with a client before. I was hired to bring their revenues from 6 to 8 million. We actually not just went from 6 to 8 million per year, we went to $14 million per year. And I pretty much use these principles that I'm about to share with you as well. So the 3-step formula that I'm going to share with you today will show you how to triple your leads, how to convert more, and how to generate more transactions. So 1, how to get more leads, how to convert more leads, and last but not least, how to get more transactions. And these 3 areas, you will definitely have ways to generate an extra $100,000. That's okay. So let's go to step 1. How do you get more leads, right? How do you triple the amount of leads that you're getting for your business right now, right? So if you're taking notes today, I would want to share with you that I would write this down if I were you. The fundamentals of connecting with your market or speaking to your customers in a profitable way is the following. Have something good to say about your business, which is your market dominating position. The second thing is say it well. You have to have a compelling marketing, right? So have something good to say it well, and say it as often as you can. Repetition. Here's an example. This was a case study that I want to share with you. This ad was to help a cosmetic surgeon to generate more revenues for his cosmetic surgery, right? And his ad pretty much was nurture the body that provoked true envy. Now, if you see this ad, I want to ask you a quick question. What do you see wrong with this ad? You are a cosmetic surgeon, or a cosmetic surgeon hires you to give them advice as to how to increase their revenues. You're giving them advice. What do you see wrong with this particular ad? Here's what's wrong with the ad, right? The ad is not getting and understanding what the prospect needs, the prospect that you're marketing to needs. It's really, really important for you to learn to connect. And the best way to connect with your audience is to enter the conversation taking place in the head of your prospect. Think about your business. Think about Richard Branson being in space, taking notes. He's up there in space and he's writing notes. Why? He wants to experience what his audience, his customers will experience. He wants to get inside their head and try to figure out what experiences they will have and how can he proactively provide a solution for those experiences that they desire. So the first thing to do is whatever product or service you have, enter into the head of that prospect as to what is it that they need. In this particular case, right? In this particular case, you have a young person that's in the ad. Well, the cosmetic surgeon specializes in mommy makeovers, right? He was generating 35 leads from this ad, and he was paying $6,000 per month for Facebook pay-per-click. The formula for generating more leads, according to Dan Kennedy, and if you're in marketing, you'll know Dan Kennedy is the guru for marketing, is 3 things. And I'd say write these 3 things down for your business, how to connect with your audience. 1 is you need to know your market. You need to know what your message is. And last but not least, you have to have the right media. So in this particular case, who do you think the market is for cosmetic surgery? Not a young person like it's in this ad. It's a mother who's probably 30 to 45 years old, who's had 2 or more kids. And That's the market, right? The next thing would be certainly the message. She wants to have the body that she had before she had kids. And so if you can think about that for a second, you get inside the head of your prospect. In this case, the prospect is a market for a mother with 2 or more kids. She wants the body she had before she had kids. And so with that in mind, you find the media: Facebook, pay-per-click, direct mail, radio, TV, whatever you choose as your ideal media. Here's what happens after focusing on the right media, the right market, and the right message. It generated results that, going from 35, it now generated 300 to 500 leads per month. That's over 10 times the amount. Remember before we talked about a 10% increase? Here we're talking about an exponential increase in leads per month. As a result, this was a 1,000% increase in leads. Okay, so that's step number 1. Ways to generate more leads is to understand your market, understand your message, and understand the media. You have to learn to get inside the head of your audience. And I want to share something that is not on my slides that's really, really important if you can think about it. It's what I call, the old McDonald thing, E-I-E-I-O. Well, it's really I, right? It's something that I remembered. It's called the I, right? The E, and the E, and the O. And the I would be, think about watching a television show. If you're watching a television show, what do you typically do when there's a commercial? Well, for me, I really take the time to take a break, go to the refrigerator, get a snack, get some ice cream, or whatever the case may be. I take a break. Now, what happens when you have a commercial like a Geico commercial, right? You typically watch that commercial because here's what they do. They do the I, which is called interrupt. The interrupt simply means they try to get your attention. So I say the I, think about the I in your business. When you're connecting with your audience, you have to have, the first thing is the I. The I would be your interrupt. And so when you're doing an interrupt, just like this ad, the most important thing to remember is you have to find a way to interrupt your audience. And that becomes the headline. And I'll talk about that later. And the E that I want to mention as well in your IEEO is going to be your engage. The second part in your engage is simply after you've interrupted the audience, you then have to find a way to engage the audience. And here's how that's going to come in handy later. So keep those 2 in mind, and I'll get back to that in a moment as we get into step number 2. And I'll talk about E and O later. So step number 2 is the formula as to how to convert more leads into sales. So now you have these people that are connecting with you. You have these leads that you generated. How do you then get them to become, more of them to become customers? The first thing I'd say is one of the important reasons why we lose revenues in business is because people tend to ask us for lower prices. You ever had someone ask in your business, can you give me a discount? Or can you offer it for less? I'd say don't offer it for less, but here's what you can do to generate more revenues. You can downsell. You can offer your prospect an alternative at a lower price when they decline your original offer. Okay, for example, you go to a restaurant, you notice that you go to lunch, and instead of buying the dinner meal, you'd love to get that for less. So instead of losing you as a customer, a lot of restaurants, they offer you a lunch special. So they're giving you a smaller portion, but they're still generating revenues. And so in your business, you can actually offer, instead of offering them 100 quantities of what you want for $100, and they want a discount, say, yeah, I can give you a discount. So what you do is you reduce the quantity that you provide, and you can still operate at the same gross margin, and you're offering your customers a service, a product, and you're also generating revenues. And they're not walking out of your store or your shop without a sale. You really want to make sure that each time they come into your shop or into your presence or are introduced to your product or service, that you give yourself an opportunity for them to try or use your product. So that's the first thing in converting more. The second part is what do you call a drip campaign? On an average, please know that 1% of your prospects are now buyers, which means that if they go to your website or if you meet with them right now, most of the people that you meet right now are ready to buy. Only 1% are ready to buy. 99% are not. So here's what we do typically in business. We try to convert everyone right away. And that's not really a good business practice because you come across as being very, very desperate. You have to think like a farmer. You plant your seeds now, and somewhere in the future, you will generate a harvest. And I think the best example for that is sometimes we guys buy flowers for our wives or our girlfriends, or you folks, for your significant other, you buy a gift. One thing I've learned pretty much is we guys will buy a bouquet once every so often, special occasions. I was told instead of buying a bouquet now and then 6 months later another bouquet, maybe buying a rose now, one rose every week is maybe more impactful than 2 dozen roses now and nothing for another 2 months. So again, that's like a drip campaign. Instead of giving everything right now, try to find a way to stay in touch and add value little by little by little by little. For example, you ever had a customer that you connect with, and then 6 months, 9 months later, you see them and they bought the service you offered, but they bought it from a competitor or from someone else. Why? Because they were not ready to buy right away. And so you may plant the seed, but because you were not in touch with them, you lost the sale and that opportunity to someone else. And so with the drip campaign, what you're actually doing is understanding that most buyers, right, think about it, they will probably need your service in about 3, 6 months, or maybe a year from now. But if you're staying in touch with them, you certainly will be able to plan your revenues 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, whereas you will not lose those revenues will be yours. Remember before I talked about the IEEO? Well, that would be the second E, which should be, and the third E. The first one I said is to, one, interrupt. You have to really get inside their head and figure out what they're thinking. The second one certainly would be to engage them. Engage them simply is, the first interrupt is they have a problem that they don't want. That's the interrupt, right? Always think about the problem that they have that they don't want. And your engage is the solutions and the results they desire that only you can provide, right? And so when you're doing your marketing should always be, your interrupt would be, one, getting inside their head, talk about the problem that they have that they don't want, and your engage, which the second one is the solution that you provide, which simply is, right, the solution and the results that you can provide for that item. So your advertising, your marketing should always be, your interrupt is the problem that they have, your engage should always be the solution, your subheadline, the solution you provide. Now the third E is educate. Education is really important because most buyers are not ready to buy right now. So in your drip campaign, what you're doing pretty much is you realize that over the next couple months, you want to have a relationship. You want to give them one flower every week or something every month that reminds them that you're there when they are ready to make a decision, that you're there for them. So if you continue to nurture that prospect and staying in touch with them on an ongoing basis, this will help you as well to convert more. So let's give you some practical secrets. The secret to converting more leads is to create a compelling offer. One, in this situation here, this surgeon, all he did pretty much was offer his phone number. He showed the prospect, which is a young person. That person does not need a service. You then get inside the head of the audience, which is the mom who wants to have that younger body. And so you change that, you get inside their head, and here's the headline. I want the body I had before I had kids, right? And that's the headline. The subheadline is so the headline is going to be the problem that they have that they don't want, right? And which is, she wants the body that I had before I had kids. And the subheadline is the engage, which is the solution is it's time to get rid of that problem area on your hips, thighs, and tummy. And that's the results. And your headline, again, for your business should be what they need. Your subheadline is the service that you provide. And as a result of that, you see that free opening report. That's where you engage them. And that's where you provide education. One, you give them an opportunity to capture their information so you can continue to speak with them over time. So you capture their information and then you begin to educate. Don't sell, just educate, build a relationship. So in this case, if you remember at first they were generating 5 leads, right? In this case, he offered a free offer, candid results and answers about mom makeover. And over time, he kept providing this person with information. Over time, the results was the ad was generating 300 to 500 prospects per month, which increased from the 35. And his conversion was 67%. That was generating now 268 leads for him. With his 8% conversion, giving him 32 new patients, that was approximately 600,000 more in monthly revenues, not annual, monthly revenues. So again, that's your step number 2. Step number 3, as far as more transactions, how do you generate more transactions for your business? How do you connect with your audience more so that you can profitably generate more transactions for your business? One, let's get to it. So if you're writing notes, increasing transactions with your prospect involves getting them to buy from you more frequently than they do now. How do you do that? Upselling, cross-selling, those are the fastest and the least expensive ways to generate more revenues without spending an additional dime. Have you ever driven to McDonald's and you order whatever you order? They always ask you, what? Would you like to supersize that? Well, yeah, sure. For pennies on the dollar, you're going to supersize your fries. You're going to supersize your drink. Really shouldn't, because that's going to put on an extra pound and a half that we just, in our New Year's resolution, promised that we're going to get rid of. But the point is, when they do the upsell, it's not costing them much at all, but it's generating a 10% more in revenues. It's generating maybe a 20% more in revenues. And then they may ask you, as far as cross-selling is, after you've upside, would you like some apple pie with that? Would you like some ice cream with that? That's your cross-selling. Those products are on your shelf. Always find ways to do upsell. Always find ways to do cross-sell in whatever you're doing. Connect with your customers. If you know what your customers need, and like Richard Branson in his notes that he was taking, experiencing and understanding what's in the head of his customers, you will pretty much know that you're not selling, you really understand who your customer is, and you're actually providing them with value by upselling, by cross-selling. So I say offer more products and services to your clients are ways for you to generate more revenues. So upsell, cross-sell. Upselling means you're offering a higher grade or quality or size of an item that your customer may be interested in, or they may have already decided to purchase at that point. And so it's very, very easy to upsell. Cross-selling, again, means offering other products and services that you have. And for example, you may have other products and services that's not selling. Well, offer it to them at 50% more. They realize that they're getting something that you may be selling for a value, but you're giving them a discount, but you're selling that item and you're getting it off your shelf, and you're generating more revenues, and you're reducing your inventory, which is better for you. You can replace that inventory with higher producing revenue products. So upsell and cross-sell is the third area of ways to generate more transactions for your business in practical ways and profitable ways to stay connected with your audience. So 34% of prospects will buy additional products from you. Believe it or not, they will at the time that they're making the purchase. So the 3-step formula for you to increase and add $100,000 right away to your business is one, to get more leads. You can triple your leads by what I've shared with you today. You can convert more of those people and those leads that you get. And last but not least, you can generate more transactions as well if you follow what I've shared with you earlier. So with following those formulas, you can see with just small increases in how you connect with your audience, you can uncover at least 100,000 more revenues for your business. And that way you can invest in real estate for your legacy. I don't know if there are any questions, Mr. Douglas, that people may want to ask. I'm here to answer any questions. Any questions, anyone? I'm not sure if we're still connected.
I think we're good for now. We can continue.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Douglas, that was a presentation.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. There was one question that came up. One question that was, how do you keep in touch with the drip campaign? How does that normally work, especially when you talk about businesses and restaurants and maybe barbershops?
That's a really good question to ask. There's some marketing folks that is coming up later. I would say get yourself a good marketing person. And it's really, really important. I feel the 3 ways to connect with your audience. I call them the 3 C's. The 3 C's that you should always keep in mind. The first one is to connect. To connect, there's simple ways. It's really important that you call your customers, find ways to send cards out, or find ways to just either a phone call or let them know that you're still in business. The second one is caring. Caring for your customers. The second C is one, try to get your customers' birthdays, try to get their anniversaries, try to see when they first ordered a product from you, try to figure out the anniversary for their business, try to see when they're doing something special for their business. And one, show that you care, visit their business, patronize that business. And that's the second way, that's the personal, inexpensive way to drip, have a drip campaign. Last but not least, community. Find out how you can help those individuals grow their business or grow their, whatever is important to them, connect them to a community. Whatever the business they're in, there has to be, find some ways for them to network with others. If they're in family events, find some way for them to connect their families to other events. Or their kids, find some way for their kids to connect. If they're in a certain kind of club or some kind of activities, or try to find others that have similar interests and help them make connections. So those are ways, impersonal ways to do it. From a marketing perspective, I'd say find yourself a good marketing person. And I believe there's some good digital marketing individuals that are on, and have them design a campaign for you that can do that in very inexpensive ways.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here with us. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Likewise, Mr. Douglas, thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the expo, okay?
Thanks again. It's really great. Thanks for all you're doing in the city of Miramar. Thanks to the mayor, the commissioners, and the city leaders, and including yourself and your team. You guys are doing an amazing job to the community.
Also, for our listening audience, you are available to visit our booths. There are many, many businesses in our booths that are waiting to entertain you and to let you know more about what they do and the services and products that they offer. So please do not hesitate at any time to go and visit those booths. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks again. Have a good day, everyone.
Well, welcome back. We were just educated by Mr. Victor Biggs on how to practical ways to stay connected with your customers. And now I'd like to introduce you to what we call Professor Ken.
Hey.
Professor Ken is an award-winning digital marketeer and e-commerce expert, speaker, trainer, author, professor, and founder of Eknlinks.com. Everyone calls him Professor Ken.
Yes.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for allowing me to spend some time with everyone.
All right, so But Professor Ken, you can go right ahead.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm on. That's quick. You guys are perfect.
I wanted to make sure I give you enough time that you can go ahead with your presentation.
All right, wonderful. So I'm guessing you guys see the screen right now. What you see is a big QR code. So for some of us, if you like, just go ahead and you could grab your cell phone if you want and sort of focus in on that QR code. Now it'll actually open up my information. And that first link there is my contact info. So if you want to go ahead and save that into your contacts, you'll have all my info right there. My websites are there, my email, my personal phone number. So that's a quick and easy way to go ahead and do that if you want to get a hold of me. And if that is not what you want to do, then that's okay. Here's my info here. My website's pretty simple. It's profken, profken.us. And my company, as Johnny mentioned, is Eknlinks.com. And I also have a special website just for Miramar. It's miramarwebsites.com. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Okay, so I will have this presentation. I know the association and Miramar is going to probably make this presentation and recording available to you. But if you go to my website and you /get-free-ebooks, you give me your email so I know who you are. I'll have this presentation and my other resources that are there for free for you to download and take a look at. And all that is about digital marketing, marketing in general, bringing a new product out. There's a whole bunch of different things on there. I'm always uploading things on a weekly basis. So check that out. If you want this presentation and if you want other free resources, go there. I want to thank Miramar and Bizfit for allowing me to be here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time. And I just want everyone to know that I've been in Miramar for 21 years. I mean, this is what I call home. And I work with all the businesses throughout the community, obviously worldwide. I'm an international type of a guy, but I do have some experience here. I've actually taught, and yes, I am a real professor. I taught here at the Baraya in Miramar, at University of Phoenix here in Miramar. I also teach at Una Latina or United International College here at Miramar. And I partner now, I'm teaching at Miami-Dade in partnership with Facebook, the digital marketing course. And that's to say that, listen, I know a little bit about everything, but I came here from a journey that started way back when. I've always been in sales and marketing, and I've been fortunate along the years to win some awards and get certified in not only e-commerce, but Google and analytics and all that stuff you really need. And what I'm about to tell you is that we're going to optimize our website, okay? It's not scary, it's actually fun, and you have to do that. And if in order to get in front of your customer, you have to have an optimized website. Where is the first place someone looks for you online? Well, it's your website. So today we're going to talk about all that. In addition to doing websites and having online classes and all that fun stuff, I do social media. And in 2020, I was recognized as a Southeast Florida, the best social media company in Southeast Florida. So a little credentials there to give you. But what I really want to talk about today are four things. One, I want to share with you Professor Ken's 4 questions that'll set the stage for optimizing your website, both online and mobile. 2, I want to talk about website health. Okay, it all starts with your website. And if your website is not healthy, and we'll talk about what that means, then the chance of you growing your business are not very strong. 3, I want to talk about SEO. That means search engine optimization. Some of us may have heard of that word before or that term, but may not know exactly what it is. And 4, I want to talk about Google My Business, which is a free tool that you need to be taken advantage of if you're in any type of business at all, okay? And then I'll leave a few minutes at the end for some Q&A, and hopefully you guys have my contact info. You're always welcome to call me, email me. I'm local, I'm in the community. I would love to hear from you and love to hear about your successes. And maybe if you take something away today and implement it over the next week or so, I would love to hear how successful that was for you. Okay, let's get into some of this detail. So what are Professor Ken's 4 questions? Well, I named them that. They're really not my 4 questions. We probably recognized this from when we were in elementary school, right? We did a elementary book report, and they always say who, why, what, and how, right? We have to answer some of those questions. Well, I want you to think about this when you're thinking about your website. Who will come to your website? That's really important. You need to make sure your website is targeting the people that are going to come to you. If you sell cupcakes, your website should prominently display and talk about cupcakes, not everything else, right? So keep that in mind. Who will come to your website? Why? Why would they come to your website? I want to know why I'm going to your website. I want to know why I'm there. Do you know in about 6 seconds, I'm at your website and I'm gone. They call that bouncing, right? I'm bounced from your website in less than 6 seconds if I don't understand why I'm there. And remember, it all starts with a consumer who needs something, who has a problem to solve. So you have to provide a need and solve that problem. That's the what. What am I there for? Make sure that if you sell cupcakes, cupcakes are prominently displayed and you see all the variations of cupcakes that I can get, how I can get them, how much they are, the reviews. I want to know more about you when I hit that website, whatever page that is. And then how. How do I get connected to my customer? How does my customer get connected with me? Make it easy for them, right? Make it easy for them. If you want them to click somewhere, tell them, click here. Highlight the link, do all those things to make it obvious. Don't make it complicated. You've got less than 7 seconds to get me in and out of that website and get me to take some action. If you don't take advantage of that, guess where I'm going? To somebody else. And that's what you don't want. You don't want someone coming to your website and leaving you. So if we don't think about anything, if you forget everything I talk about in the next 30 or 40 minutes, just remember this: who, why, what, and how. If you could just remember that and optimize your website along those terms, you're going to be so much further ahead than where you were yesterday. Okay, let's talk about some other things here. What about website usability? Well, it has to be usable. You have to have your website easy to read, clear content. The structure of the website has to make sense. I've built a few websites over the years, and I worked with some clients, and they show me their websites, and they have all these fancy things, these flashing things, all these beautiful things. It looks really good to them, but to a consumer, it may not look that good. You don't need all that flashy stuff. Get to the point, structure it with clear content, make it easy for a customer, someone who's coming there, to get in and out. Look, let's think about it in these terms. The website is our store. It is our business. If you walked into a brick and mortar store, a shop, and the shop was cluttered with all kinds of different things. They had pants over here, let's say it's a clothing shop, shoes are over here, this over there, and you're looking at that, you're out. You're not really looking to buy something because it's not structured properly. So make sure your website is structured and easy to use. What do you want to see in your website? That's really important. Okay, now here's an important piece that's really something you have to think about. As a consumer, when you go to a website, what do you expect? You expect a website to be professional. You expect it to look good. You want to build this trust. It's all about trust. This is what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about building a relationship, okay? Eventually, you want your customer to fall in love with you. If your customer falls in love with you, well, then they're not going to go somewhere else. So you have to build this trust. That means the website has to look professional. That means you have to have a phone number that I can call when I have a question. That means you have to be able to navigate it easily. Don't have all these magical buttons going all over the place. Very simple formatting, very simple navigation. Make sure that, of course, your website is, guess what? Mobile friendly. Everybody is online. If your website looks good on a desktop, congratulations, that's great. But guess how many people look at your mobile website? A lot more than you believe. In some cases, if you look at the analytics, more people look at your mobile site than they do the desktop site. So if your website is not optimized to mobile, you're losing that opportunity as well. You want to make sure that you have images that are pleasing and welcoming. Again, Think about you walking into a store. If you saw a pleasing welcome display, you're walking in a little further into the store. You're getting comfortable. You're trusting what you're seeing. Well, that's the idea here. Make sure that it makes sense. In some cases, you could put a video tour, right? An online video tour to help build trust. So all of these tools that we use help build this trust. And that's really important in your website. Remember, that website is the first section, the first impression that customer sees of your business. That's why it's really important. And by the way, I've dealt with websites my first one was in 2000, believe it or not. And I dealt with websites for all these years. If you have a website that's not optimized and not fresh and new, and I say fresh and new, I mean less than 3 years old, it's time to rebuild. You do not want a website from 2010, from 2015, not even 2018, because technology has changed so much that if your website is more than 3 years old and not optimized, you are losing business. I'll do the analytics and I can prove that to you. I don't have to because I know that, but that's the real case. It's like, again, if you have a brick and mortar store, if you don't keep it clean and fresh, people are not going to come there and you're not going to get the business. So I want you to think about that. Keep that in mind. One thing that's happening now that's really important, and this is why I say you have to have an up-to-date website. There are accessibility standards that are now getting more front and center, okay? So what are accessibility standards? Well, people with disabilities have the right to have access to a website too. Now you might be thinking, well, that's really difficult to understand. Well, we should understand it because it's happening right now as we speak. There are actually accessibility standards that you have to follow. In fact, if you go to this website link up here, you can put your domain in and it'll tell you whether or not your website is accessible under ADA standards. That's really important. Why is that important? Because there are lawsuits happening now on a regular basis on small businesses that are ending up costing small businesses $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. They spend only $5,000 on a website, and because they're not ADA compliant, they get sued by whoever sues them. And we know, generally speaking, it's lawyers and all that fun stuff, but they'll get sued for $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. And that's a small mom and pop shop. It bankrupts them. So keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff here, but I'm going to pitch you 4 things. So you're going to have a little sales pitch here as well. I do that. I help websites get ADA compliant. If it's not me, you can find it. Just go online and Google ADA compliance for my website. And I started about $199, and that helps get you into compliance. If you look at my sites, ADA compliance means you have that little icon, that little handicap icon that when someone clicks on it, if they're deaf, the text will read, will speak to them. If they're colorblind, the colors will change, the images will actually talk to them. This is really important. Now, it's not just to be ADA accessible. Believe it or not, Google has preference on ADA compatible sites over everybody else. So if you're a local business, let's say you are that cupcake shop here in Miramar, and you don't have an ADA compliant, and all your competition is not ADA compliant, but you spend whatever it is, $200, $1,000 to get ADA compliant. When someone punches in cupcakes in Miramar, guess what? Google's gonna say, well, wait a second, here's a cupcake shop that meets those needs and is ADA compliant. You get bumped to the top of the list. So it does help with search as well. So keep that in mind. That's one thing to think about when we're optimizing the website. All right, now, another thing I want you to do is go to this website, SEO Site Checkup, and I want you to use this as a tool to put your website in. Why? Remember I talked about website health. What do you do to understand your health? If you want to know how healthy you are, well, you could look in the mirror, and obviously over COVID, we all gained a few pounds here or there. But if you go to the doctor will tell you if you're healthy or not, right? They'll do a series of tests and they'll say, well, you got high blood pressure, you got this, you got that, and all of this stuff. Well, we have tools online that are free that actually give us the health of the website too. And this is one of them. So you see, I put my website in here. Of course, I'm a professional. I've been doing it, and I don't score 100, but I score pretty high. That's what you want. But even with me managing my website on a regular basis, you can see I have some updates to do. And that's the thing about websites. It's not just set it and forget it. It's put it up there and then you have to update it. You have to give it some love. It's a living, breathing opportunity. Think of a website as your silent salesperson, okay? It's working for you 24/7. If you had an employee working for you 24/7, you want to take care of it, don't you? So that's the idea here. You really want to make sure your website is healthy. So this is a simple check, and I'm going to go through a couple of these things here. So use this link, put your website in there. You'll get a free report. I'm not connected to them in any way. There's several different opportunities out there. If you just Google website checkup or website health, a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different domains will come up. My suggestion is to check out your site. This is where you want to start. You want to start by saying, okay, Professor Ken talked about website health. Let me see how good my website really is, if it's healthy or not, because maybe it is. If so, then you're ahead of the game. If not, you have some work to do. So when you get the report, it'll give you a very clear description on things like your, what we call header tags. And I'm going to go through some of this, meta descriptions, alt image names and all that. And it'll give you greens or reds. It'll tell you if it's good or not. Now, some of this might be a little outside of your scope of understanding. That's where you hire a coder or a professional to help you with your website. But some of us actually have hands-on with our website, so we may understand this. So it's not that frightening. It's not that expensive to get this stuff fixed, to get this stuff updated. You just want to make sure that you're doing this on a regular basis, okay? Now, you can see some of the key things that the website will check. It'll check your tags, it'll check your header tags, it'll check all the descriptions, your keywords, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So here's 6 things I want you to do to really optimize, the 6 elements you need to optimize for your website. Number 1 is title tag, and I'll explain this all in just a minute. Number 2 is what we call a meta description. We all know what this is. We see it every day, but these are the actual definitions of it. Number 3 would be the headers. Number 4 would be the URL. That's your domain name. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then, of course, you have your copy, and then we have your image alt tags. Okay, this is the things that you need to optimize in order for people to come and find you. Now, here's something I like to say about that. Google is going to find you. There's no question about that. The question is, where do they find you, right? Everybody wants to be on page 1. It's not really that easy to get on page 1. It's very difficult. There's only a couple ways you could do that. One is to make sure you have an optimized website. That gives you a better chance than not. 2, you have to spend a little money. You have to take out some ads to be there in that sponsored section, the ads section. So it's really difficult to get there. So what I'm showing you here will help you advance in your Google searches, and it'll give you a good foundation to start, okay? So let's talk about what this is. What is a title tag? A title tag, as you can see, is the title that you have up in your website. Generally speaking, it's going to describe what that page, what that website is all about. You really have limited characters, only 70 characters. And what I want you to do here is make sure that if someone, let's go back to the cupcake shop again. Let's say you sell chocolate cupcakes, strawberry cupcakes, and vanilla cupcakes. Okay, for strawberry cupcakes, if you have your own web page, it should be Professor Ken's Cupcake Shop / strawberry cupcakes. That tells everybody in Google as well what that page is all about. So you have to make sure you have that page correct. A lot of websites, especially local small business websites, don't take the time to do that. And you might see /12345 or some crazy characters. That's not telling Google anything. So make sure your web page has that title tag. Also, when you do that, make sure you use a keyword in that title tag. So that keyword is a word that's going to drive people to your business. So again, if I'm a cupcake shop, I want to make sure I'm talking about cupcakes, and if I'm selling strawberry cupcakes, I want to make sure I use the keyword strawberry cupcakes. Use a brand name if you have to. Make sure you're really giving a clear description of what that web page is. Don't go too long. Don't use special characters like strawberry cupcake, exclamation point, star, 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 whatever, happy face, whatever you want to do. Don't do that. Keep it plain and simple so Google can read it and I can read it when I go to your website. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is that meta description. And by the way, I'm using information from my own websites here, just to give you an idea that I do practice what I preach. So in a meta description, we know what this is. This is that little copy at the bottom of that search that tells you exactly what the page is all about, right? So that's important because that's sort of like your intro into that page. Again, it's the text below that, that important page title. Keep it to 170, 175 characters. Now, why is that important? Because you wanted to say everything you wanted to say and not cut off in the middle, all right? So you have to choose your words carefully. One other thing you need to do here is make sure you have a call to action. If you can see mine, I don't know if you can or not, but if you see mine, I say get free resources at my website. So I'm saying I'm offering a call to action. Maybe if you're a cupcake shop, you could say buy a strawberry cupcake today, that type of thing, or click here to get the cupcake delivered to you in 24 hours, something along those lines. So the meta description will help Google say, hey, this page is all about something. Let me show people what it's all about. Let me just stop there for a minute and give you a context of what Google is looking at. So I want a cupcake, right? And I go into the Google machine and I say, cupcake. No, I don't do that. What I do is I want a strawberry cupcake, and I live in Miramar. It's really raining outside pretty bad right now. I don't want to drive too far. I want to be close to me, and I want to get it now for dinner, for dessert. So I want a cupcake, a strawberry cupcake in Miramar near me or something like that. That's what I'm Googling. So Google is looking at this and saying, okay, here's the solution to that person's problem. You have to make sure you're providing content and keywords that answer that query. People are not just putting in cupcakes. They're putting in strawberry cupcakes near me. They're putting in strawberry cupcakes in Miramar. That's where you have to improve your information. Okay, so now what are the heading titles? Those are the titles that speak about the page. So if we think about what that is, we call them H1s and H2. And H1 is the most important title on the page. That's gotta be the priority title. Google will say, hey, this page is about something. Let me take you to that page. You see my website, this happens to be my speaking and team building page. Okay, Google knows exactly what that is. So if somebody looks up speaking and team building, Google will say, oh, here's a page, Professor Ken's page. Maybe this will work for you as a solution. So we wanna make sure, again, we're using these header tags. Now, there are H1, H2, H3, it goes all the way down to H5. If you use different size header tags, you have to make sure you're doing it in order. H1 on top, 2, 3, 4, 5, because Google is reading that way, okay? You wanna make sure you're satisfying what Google is looking at. Again, use your keyword because keywords are going to tell Google that this is all about what someone is looking for. The whole journey here, the whole journey of looking for your website starts with a customer having a need to fill, a customer having a problem to solve. So if they're looking for something, you have to raise your hand and say, hey, I have the answer to your problem. I have the solution. I have what you need in Professor Ken's cupcake shop. The only way to do that online is through content, is through website optimization. And this is how we meet. Imagine the consumer being here, looking for things. You're here providing things. In the middle is the Google bridge. You want to make sure that you can connect to your consumer. And these are some of the tools that you need to do that. Okay, let's talk about another way to optimize your website, the URL structure. Okay, that's a technical term, but we know what that is. It's that domain sitting up on top. So make it speaking. What I mean by that is tell people what that URL does without even knowing what it does. So if you sell strawberry cupcakes, it should be / strawberry cupcakes or strawberry cupcakes for sale or whatever it is you want to define. Avoid complication here. Clean, simple, easy, no special characters. Make sure that this is important because Google is looking for this, and that's going to help you populate. So this page, my page, is all about Professor Ken. So if you land on this page, you're going to learn all about Professor Ken. It's that simple. That's what you need to do. Now, if you don't manage your own website, get someone to help you set this up because this is important. It'll cost you labor hours, but once you do it, you are now laying the foundation for growth in your Google search terms. Okay, so now images. We all use images, but did you know that Google also searches images on your website? So every image you have on your website, if you have pictures of cupcakes on your website, you have to name that image. And it's really a special thing called an alt tag. So you may not be familiar on how to do that, but basically, once the image has a name, like you can see here, my image, my avatar has a name, Google says, oh, here's something else under Professor Ken. Let me pull that up too. Because if you go into Google, you can search website, images, videos, news, all kinds of different things. And Google's picking this up as well. So make sure you're checking out your alt images. Okay, now here's my second pitch to you. I build websites. I have a Miramar special. I've had it since the beginning of COVID. And you don't have to be just a Miramar. This is for the community. I want to help the community out. My team will build a website for you for under $1,000. If you're interested, go to miramarwebsites.com. If you need a new website, we can get it done. Ordering online, booking online, whatever you need. If you go to that link, you'll see more details about it, okay? That's my sales pitch. I'll keep going now. All right. So let's talk about how Google looks for you. Google is looking for what we call context and intent. Remember, we're not looking for just a cupcake. We're looking for a strawberry cupcake in Miramar, okay, that I can get in 24 hours. So Google is going to take that and say, okay, I think I have a place here based on your keywords, based upon what you're putting out there. That's really important. So make sure that you have that. The results have to answer the questions of the searcher. Don't do what you think is good. Do what you think the searcher will be looking for, because that's really important. Create content that delivers targeted information. That's what we talked about now in the first part of this presentation. So you have to make sure that your content, your keywords, all align to the same thing that you're doing. That's really important. Let me explain keywords briefly to you. Now, I do a whole 1 hour, 1.5 hour session on keywords and even longer. But briefly, to let you know what it does for you, there are what we call long tail keywords and short tail keywords. So this graph gives you an example of what a short tail keyword is. A short tail keyword rather would be something like website building, okay? Now, website building, if you punch that in, you see that 74,000 searches happen a month, and the cost per click, that's what CPC stands for. It'll cost you about $33 per click to get that in an ad. Now, as you extend that and make that phrase longer, that's the long tail, that's this section down here, you use best website builder. Notice it's less searches and less money, because less people are looking for it, so it's less competition to get that. And if you go all the way out to the long tail and you go, I want a website built for me or a website for my business, you can see there's only 260 searches for that and less cost per click. So you have to use a combination of what we call long tail searches and short tail searches. Make sure that you're plugging these in to your website, into your content, okay? So getting back to that cupcake example, here would be cupcakes, here would be strawberry cupcakes, and here would be strawberry cupcakes sold in Miramar, just to give you an idea of how you would play that out. Make sure that that's how you're planning out your keywords, and that's gonna help Google say, okay, this cupcake shop really has all the things that this person is looking for, so let me help populate that to the top. Now, one way to get keywords is just use Google for free. Just go ahead and enter any word in there. And you know these little things that come up? Well, you know why that comes up? That's because people are looking for that. So Google is telling you, hey, people are looking for all these things. These are the things you should include in your keywords in your website to help get recognized when people start looking for stuff. So I would go in there, put in a very broad word into Google and see what populates. Once you see what populates, you can go ahead and manage that. So you put these keywords on your web pages, in your social media, on anything you do in terms of content, and you let Google see what's happening, and they're able to pull that up to the top. Another section you can look for are that great section down there that people also ask. So people are asking for something. So anything it says in that people also ask section, that's what I want you to take, okay? That's what I want you to take. So make sure that you're looking at that. And then at the very bottom, at Google search, there's all these related searches. All this should be also as part of your keywords in your website. This is not so complicated to do. And guess what? It's free if you have hands-on development of your website. But this is how you can bump up to the top every time someone is looking for your product or your service, okay? Generally speaking, SEO, we went through a couple of things here. Again, it's a long, complicated scenario, but in order to be good, in order for you to get SEO to the top, make sure you use keywords in your titles like we talked about. Make sure you have your branding on every page. Make sure your site is fast, meaning it loads pretty good. Make sure you're practicing these SEO tips. Make sure you're using social media and using social icons. You have to make sure your website is trustworthy and has relevance. You have to make sure your messaging and your branding is consistent. You have to target to that who, and you have to have links. So links are two ways. There are inbound links and outbound links. So if you're a local Miramar business and you want to link to me, I'll be happy to link to you. The more links, the better. But now keep in mind that Google wants to see links of important websites, not just anybody. So if you have 10 links coming into your website, like if you, like me, I'm here presenting for the city of Miramar, they might link my website to them, okay? That's a website of authority. Google likes that. But if you have only 5 of them and 100 of all the other websites, Google might say, well, this is a little more important because there's more authority with that linking there. So these are the things you have to have for your SEO, and it's not complicated. If you if you can't manage your website, I would suggest you get someone to help you with that, because this is important. And by the way, outside of the cost of changing some wording in your website and your tags, this is all free to do. There's no expense here. And if you need help, of course, this is what I do. Not only do I do SEO, but also have social media plans. And if you go to one of my web pages, one of my websites, 149 social media, yes, I do social media for $149 a month. I can help you get the word out there. That's one of the things that I do. And I had, I got that award list here. So I do have some tips and tricks that I can share with you. And you can go on the website to see some of those things that I can help you with. Okay. So here's something really important. Google has this thing called Google My Business. Okay. Google is phenomenal. It's a great website, a great company, in fact. They help small businesses. In fact, they really helped small businesses through COVID. And they have this digital essentials guide. Here's a link here. If you go to that guide, you can have some resources that are all free. Don't we love that word free? I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. It's all free. So go to this link and you're able to get some of these essential guides and some of these tools that you could use for your business. Now, I know you're saying, you're probably thinking, Professor Ken, this is all great stuff, but I don't have time to do any of this. I get it, right? I get it. But I could tell you right now, working with all kinds of different small businesses over the course of many years, a lot of people work in their business, but they don't work on their business. And you have to think of it like this. If we go back to that store, that brick and mortar store, what do you do to get your shop ready? Well, you have to open up the security gate, right? You have to turn the key, open up the security gate. You have to open the front door, stop the alarm. You may have to sweep the floors or mop the floors or pre-cook or whatever it is that you do. You have to get your store ready every single day for that day's business, right? The website is the same exact thing. You have to get your business ready every day. Don't think of it as another thing I have to do. This is a business necessity. Think of it as turning the lights on, opening your security gate, turning off your alarm, mopping the floors, whatever it is you do, putting out the garbage, whatever it is you do for your business every day, you have to think of it like this as well. This is really important. We all know getting through COVID, if you didn't have an online business, it was really hard, right? It was the only way to connect to your customers. So this is very important. And by the way, it's only getting more important. It's really getting more important. So check out this link. And what I want you to do when you look at this link, take a look at Google My Business. There's actually a free profile that you can set up. And I'm surprised to see that a lot of companies don't have this set up right now. It's free to set up. It'll take you 15 minutes to go through it. All you need to do is claim your free profile, click on that, put your business in, and give Google some information. And now you know that little thing that you have when people look up your business. Well, that's what Google My Business does. It's really simple. You have to have a Gmail account. So I suggest that you have a Gmail account. I have marketing, Professor Ken's marketing at Gmail as an example. You can do something like that, set that up. But basically you want to set up your account and start building your business profile. You just put in here, I'm using the example, Miramar websites, what I do, how I do it, and then you can give a description. Now I do have an online course. I just launched it. In fact, it launched only last week. It's really an online platform for e-classes, and everything I teach, I put online, and the rates go from $9.99 to $49 to actually live sessions with me. So it's a local thing I'm doing. If you want a complete setup online, go to this link here, and it's 50, use the code 50 off Miramar, and you get it for $4.50. The regular price is only $9.99. It's discounted from $29, but that'll walk you through the steps, step by step, on how to set up a Google My Business account, okay? Well, that's really the presentation. I wanted to save some time here for some Q&As. I went through a lot. I know there's a lot of information out there. I didn't expect you all to take it all away in 45 minutes, but remember who's going to your website? What are they looking for? Why are they here? And how can I get it to them? If you just start with that, you're better than where you were yesterday. Okay, so are there any questions, anything I can help you with? You have a problem we want to solve online, please let me know.
Thank you, Professor Ken. There is one question. One question I do have here for you is, if I'm going to market my business on Google, and you're talking about the search engine, how I can make myself more accessible to my customers.
Right.
What are some of the best strategies that you can give me?
So you want to market it on Google, and you want a strategy that's going to get you to that, answer that search, right? So everything we talked about, let me unpack that for a second. It's not one thing. Let's just start there. It's not one thing. I'm not selling you magic potion sauce. So it's not one thing. That's the key here. So everything I shared with you help. Every little piece helps. So if you think that I can just go in and work Google a little bit here and get ranked up higher, Google's a little smarter than all of us put together. It's not going to work like that. You have to have everything operating at the same time. So you have to have your URLs, you have to have your header tags, your meta descriptions, your social media, all that's important. Let me rephrase that. So think of your website like a house or a business, okay? Mm-hmm. You have a business and it's in somewhere in Miramar that's not built out or anything like that, right? Like Miramar may have been like 40 years ago, let's say. I've been here 21 years and we've added a lot in 21 years. But let's say it's there and you got one road coming in to your business. That's your website. Okay, that's great. Only a limited amount of people will come in and out of that one road. Now, if you add backlinks and external links out, now you have another road that people come in and out of your website. You do Google My Business, you have another road that people come in and out of your website. You do social media, now you have more roads that people come in and out of your website. You do some blogging, you share some stories, you do videos on YouTube, now you've got more streets for them to come in and out of your website. Your goal is to make it easy for people to get to your business. Don't cut them off, don't give them one avenue to get in. You want them to have many avenues to come in. And that's what this is all about. So in order to get optimized, in order for Google to say, hey, this website's important, you have to do a lot of these different things. And that's the key. It's not just one thing. One other thing I like to point out here, this is a work in progress. Anybody want to take a guess on how many blogs there are out there in the world right now, as an example? Blogs. How many blogs do you think there are?
I wouldn't know.
Over a billion. Okay?
Wow.
How many people do we have on planet Earth? What, 7 billion plus or minus? So that means there's one blog for every 7 individuals out there. Websites are just as predominant. Everyone's putting up websites now. So if someone takes my class, I'm teaching them how to be better than you. So you have competition every single day, every single minute, not just in Miramar, by the way, throughout the world. So it's not just a set it and forget it mentality. This is something you have to come back. Even with keywords, you have to make sure your keywords are ranking. You have to make sure your site is always optimized. It's a regular process. Again, think of it like a regular business, a regular storefront. You're not just going to, you're not going to let the floor stay dirty. You're going to sweep the floor. You're not going to undo the panels or the alarms. You have to reset it. A website's the same thing. You have to give it the same love and care that you would anything else, because we're building relationships. And relationships take time and take some investment and take some love and care. And now you can build a relationship with your customer, because if you can keep a customer for 3, 4, 5 years, now you have a real business, right? Why do you think Amazon is the largest company on planet Earth? Because everybody's a Prime member and nobody's ever leaving them. And that's why they're so big. That's the mentality we have to have.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. One last question is, how often is acceptable to refresh your website?
Every 6 months. Every 6 months. So, but yeah, let me just unpack that for a minute. You have to be careful what you do, right? I'm not saying go from a red website to a blue website in 6 months. Make some changes that are progressive. Make some changes that make sense. One suggestion, and we haven't talked about this, we do have analytics. There's a combination. So this is all about art and science, right? The art is the creative stuff. The science is the analytics. Google Analytics will tell you what pages are doing good and what pages are not doing good. If you're going to improve your website, improve the pages that people are going to and bouncing quickly, that don't have strong retention rates, and improve the pages that have no traffic. Work your way on stuff that's not working, and then work your way up to the stuff that is working.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Kim. It's always a pleasure having you on visiting with the city of Miramar. You are so full of information for all those who want to build a successful website and to connect with their customers base. So thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. I'm going to do my podcast again so we can continue this conversation.
Absolutely. I got plenty more to share. There's all kinds of different things we can talk about. So I'm excited, and it's great to be here, and good luck, everybody. Remember, it's a process, right? It's a process. Take something away and get better every day. That's the idea.
And also for our participants, there are booths out there with businesses who have booths available for you to come in and see the products and services that they offer and to get connected with them. Networking is another way to build your network and to build your customer base as well. So we have that available for you today. Well, thank you. And you enjoy the rest of the expo today, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, we're back. And just heard from Professor Ken, who helps us help customers find you on the website and on the mobile devices. Well, now we have another guest speaker with us today, and that speaker is Mr. Ron Krudo. Mr. Ron Krudo is a managing partner of Equiturn Business Solutions. Well, Mr. Krudo likes to keep things very simple but very powerful. So he has some hobbies that he loves. Mr. Krudo loves fishing. He loves hiking. He loves food, man after my own heart. And you can always catch him on Instagram. But right now, you're going to catch him right now presenting to you and letting you know everything you need to know to grow your business via internet. Mr. Krudo.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here. Probably one of the best bios I've gotten hands down so far. I'll take that any day of the week. So thank you. I definitely, for myself, I work for and started Equiturn Business Solutions. We're a full service small business consulting firm. We offer marketing, finance, operations, and sales. My focus is in the marketing and operations side. I love the way that messaging can make a difference and how people make the impact within your business. So today I'm going to be talking to you more on the side of the marketing and what are some of the hottest trends and tools in 2021. And I was just telling the team, I'm already looking to 2022, but there's so much within 2021 that's being expanded on and growing over the next year that I'm so excited to share these with you, because I think if you can even take 2 of these trends and apply them in something you're doing today, I think that you'll be ahead of the curve of most small businesses, especially when it comes to your marketing. And I know that you've been doing different presentations throughout this whole day. And I know there was a number of presentations specifically on online marketing and e-commerce and digital marketing. I'm going to touch on some of the bigger picture trends that you probably will be able to build connections to some of the presentations you saw before. So I hope this helps. And just to open things up, I always like to ask the group, and you can plug it here in the chat. I'm trying to follow as I go, but I always like to ask everybody, what's some of the hot marketing trends you see in 2021 that you've at least experienced, things that you've noticed, and things that are on your radar for what you believe in the future is going to make a difference. And I'm going to touch on 10 of them today, but I promise you there's 20, 30 marketing changes every single day. So I'm just kind of curious, what's some of the hot trends you guys think are out there? And I'm going to keep going through the presentation, but I do want to hear from you, because at the end of the day, marketing is about our target audience, and you're my audience. I want to know who is out there in the room. What are you guys seeing as your personal trends? Also, what businesses are you involved in? What type of industries do you work with? You can throw them up in the chat as we're going through the presentation, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm looking over here to the right here and there, but I love to hear from you guys and learn from all of you as we go through this. So to open things up, I do like to, again, tell you a little more about myself, because I think it helps kind of lay the road as to why I believe so much in marketing and keeping an eye on the trends. So as Johnny explained, I have a lot of hobbies, Instagram being definitely one of them. I spend way too much time on it. TikTok now too, scrolling and the deep TikTok holes that you can get into as you're sitting there. It's very dangerous, but I'm also a father of one with a baby on the way, a beautiful wife. I love adventure. I take my son hiking all the time. So this picture to me is like business in the front, party in the back. So business me is managing partner at Equiturn, doing marketing on a daily basis, developing strategies for starting and small businesses that are looking to grow. And then fun me is out there with my kid, enjoying nature and exploring. And so I hope that this is an experience for you guys to get to know me as your audience as much as you're my audience.
Our new website launches in a month. Great work, everyone. Launch means marketing, though, and marketing means content. We need something that's like punchy and shareable and does well on social. Who is the customer again?
Millennials.
That's right. They're so great. Okay, so let's hear your ideas. What do you got?
Nice.
Okay, wait, I have something much better.
Oh, nice. I like it. Can we make it go viral? Let's check in with the social media manager.
Oh my god, look at this tiny hamster eat a tiny burrito.
Oh my god, it's so tiny.
I'm so dead.
That's not good enough. It's ideation time.
Siri, what does on fleek mean?
Tell us what our customer wants. Concentrate harder.
Wait, you guys. You know we haven't tried yet?
Come on! Yes, we can do it! Over the
What's up with marketing? I think this is just how they brainstorm. Seems labor intensive. Yep.
Brainstorm better with the customer voice. Download the free Conductor Insights app to see what your customer is searching for.
All right, so at the end of the day, I hope that was just a fun, lighthearted video to connect you guys to marketing. I know that a lot of my friends always ask me, what exactly do you do in marketing? How do you read into people's minds and put ads on their pages? It's not as eventful as that video might show it, but it is a lot of that creative thinking, kind of getting outside the box, figuring out the messaging and who your audience is and how to get it in front of them. And that comes alongside knowing the recent trends and what's going on in the marketplace today. Honestly, there is such an impact on digital marketing because of the pandemic. There was clearly a nationwide lockdown that caused us all to move online. Even this event right now is virtual because there was a clear-cut need to keep people connected. And digital marketing and online spaces were the difference in that. And a part of that is doing these types of virtual events. The global B2C commerce, just in 2021, leading from 2020 into 2021, sales are expected to reach over 4.5 trillion by 2021. So a lot of people see e-commerce as only paid products. You can also see service in that. And if you're thinking about 4.5 trillion in e-commerce, even if you could take a small chunk of that, if you're in the B2C industry, it would be unbelievable. And if you're not online now, or if you're not looking for the trends to how to get ahead of it, even if you are online, you're gonna lose that wave. And it's already trending very close to this before the end of the year. A majority of events went virtual in 2020, causing that rise of a virtual work and event space. So the reason I talk about this is because when you talk about your marketing and when you're addressing the trends, there are a lot of people now living a very different life than they were living a year ago. And that's important to consider as we're looking at the different trends in marketing, because those are people that are your target audiences. And social media buying overall accounted for almost 24% of 24% of US budgets from quarter Q2 of 2020. Pretty much saying that they've now decided to double down on their investment and put more funds into social media budgets over traditional marketing services, TV ads, newspapers, billboards. This is a much smaller percentage leading into 2021 now. So what does this mean for us? It means a lot of change. It means a lot of people have now lived different lives, and we need to reassess how we're marketing to the individuals that we want to convert, the people that we want to generate into leads. So social media, trend number one, is more to engage and retain than it is just to gain new leads. I know that all of us on here, or at least a majority of us, have probably tried once doing a social media ad or a paid advertising, doing Google. I know a lot of people on this call have talked about it. Sometimes we forget that we're so focused on generating new clients that there's a clear-cut opportunity with the existing clientele that we're working with today to re-engage them and retain them and get them to buy more. It's actually been found that retention is cheaper than attainment. Retaining a client costs much less than actually trying to find someone new. That cost of acquiring a client, the CAC, is a lot less when you're just engaging with people that have already bought. And the pandemic overall increased the amount of time people are spending on social media. I'm sure all of us were glued to our phones. If you have that screen time app, I kept getting alerted every single day because all I would do is be sitting on my phone. I was home. Even now, working from home, for a lot of people, you have so much more access to your social media. You're so much more interconnected because you haven't seen your friends and family for so long. And even getting into 2021, people are more active online than ever before because they feel more comfortable. From shopping to engaging to building relationships, it's all done online. And that's why I stress the fact that if you can focus your energy on retaining those clients through social media, it'll be a lot cheaper for you overall. And you want to dedicate more resources to social media overall from across the board. It doesn't have to be monetary resources though. And this is somewhere that's a topic that a lot of people are mistaken by. You don't have to spend a lot of money to reach a lot of people. You just have to spend the time. And if you feel like that audience is on Instagram or Facebook, 2021 is the time to start engaging them more, commenting on their posts, liking their stuff, retaining them, pushing additional information to the people that are already connected with you. And the tools to get that done, and I'm always going to do this on each slide, just so you know. I'm going to give you the trend that's happening and what tools can you use to capitalize on that trend. So affordable tools to keep yourself consistent online and be able to retain and engage your existing audiences. You can use Buffer, Hootsuite, or Later. Those three platforms allow you to schedule posts, manage your paid advertising, oversee the posts you have over a period of a calendar. And they all have a very, very affordable entry level point for a small business. Buffer, Hootsuite, and Later.com. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok and YouTube are probably the best areas for retention if you're trying to re-engage somebody or retarget them after engaging with them in the past. I always try to stress to people though, if you are a B2B business, really focusing on LinkedIn. I don't touch on this in my trends, but LinkedIn has actually been a really big push this year, has done a really big push, excuse me. I see Johnny shaking his head, you don't, but I do. And it is amazing what they've done to allow for story posts, boosting your post properly. So if you are a B2B business, I don't list it there, but definitely that's another location to engage and retain. Your clients are a relationship. They're not just a business. They're not just someone paying you for a product or a service. They are a relationship. Use social media to capitalize on it. I personally get most of my leads from referrals. So if I use my social media to constantly be active and tagging my contacts, tagging the people I'm working with and the relationships and the businesses I'm consulting, it helps me more than spending money on leads all the time. So try to use these tools, try to be more consistent in your social media posting, and you'll see a drastic change in the impact because of just how much people are online now more than ever before. Number 2 is Google My Business is crucial. Now this is more of a brick and mortar thing just to keep in mind. Google My Business doesn't allow for certain e-commerce businesses to be listed, but it is very crucial if you are a brick and mortar business to make sure your Google My Business page is fully updated, allows for reviews, the proper imagery, because it's an all-in-one Google listing and allows you for local focused area SEO, search engine optimization, meaning that if you have a location surrounding where I am right now, North Fort Lauderdale area, anybody who searches in my surrounding area will see my listing because I have a Google My Business page. And the pandemic did something really interesting. If it didn't push people to want to shop online, it did push people to want to verify your business. Check if you're open. Check what your business is like during the pandemic. Check reviews. A Google My Business page is actually the first stop for a lot of clients nowadays because it is the first place to understand what's going on in your business after everything that happened. I have tons of businesses that I used to love going to eat dinner at, hanging out at, or picking up shopping supplies for the house, and they're closed, or they changed their hours, or they're not as safe as they used to be. So this is a really important place to be, especially with everything going on in 2021. And like I was saying before, it's one of the highest traffic Google search and location finders. If you don't have a Google My Business page, you're not showing up properly. You'll be found on the search, but you won't be found on Google Maps. You won't be found as a location near you. It really is now more than ever a crucial part of an overall marketing strategy. So if you have a brick and mortar business, do this. Even if you don't have a brick and mortar business in your e-commerce, but have an office space or have a fulfillment center, you can sometimes also do that to be able to connect your Google My Business page. Things to look for, because in your page, you're going to be able to add tags and services and give descriptions about your business. So what I always tell people to do is look at a tool called SEM Rush, Search Engine Marketing Rush. It gives you free reports on your website and on your competitors' websites and traffic. If you want to do a lot of reports and research and data, then you have to pay for it. But in the free level, it does allow you to have a free analysis. If you're looking for one and they don't provide it to you for some reason, I do pay for the service, and I have a little link on my website that gives you a free report if you ever just want to look at it. It's a free website analysis, but it'll allow you to know what your competitors are using for keywords on their business listings so that you can do them on yours. Same thing with Google Trends. Google Trends gives you the opportunity to take a look at what's currently trending in the marketplace for people and what are the key terms that they're looking for. And that'll be perfect keywords for your SEO within your Google My Business listing. So I try to recommend go to SEMrush, go to Google Trends, and of course, to be able to build your Google My Business listing, you got to go to Google My Business. If you search that, you can set it up. Make sure you go through the full verification process. It's very tedious. They made it even more tedious in 2021. But it is a very important and very helpful tool to have, especially in today's day and age with all the trends happening right now where people are searching online to know if you're open and available. Trend number 3, automated bidding for ads. It used to be that my team would have to spend days, hours, minutes, changing ads, updating information, replacing words, reviewing what the consumer is looking at. With today's AI systems and algorithms, they've taken a lot of the weight off of our shoulders, a lot of the weight off of your shoulders. There's tools to automatically generate the different phrases within a Google campaign or even a social media campaign. It will write up the copy if you just give it general suggestions. I didn't list those here actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but if you have any questions about that, just having a tool that auto-generates ad copy for you, let me know. You can send it in the chat and they'll follow up with me later. But constantly tweaking your ads and budgets is just a thing of the past. It's crucial in marketing, but now the bots are doing it for you. There's a tool called Smart Ads with Google, where you can literally put a set of ad copy that you feel is appropriate for your business. They'll automatically rank it among a certain audience using their algorithms and only rank the words and the listings that are doing the best, depending on the preferences and interests of the person looking for it. They've done all the tough work for you. So if you're not doing a smart ad with Google or using some kind of AI-based software, or if you're not sitting back and relaxing and not stressing about what's happening with your ads the first month when you're not making leads, then you're approaching it the wrong way. That's something I actually experience a lot. And I hate to say it because I know that it's only from a place of care and compassion, but a lot of people get very scared when they start their marketing campaigns, especially now because they don't realize what's changed so much within Google and these different platforms, and they cut off their budgets or they stop their marketing. But with the way that the systems run today, they're actually doing a lot of the legwork for you, and you just have to let them do it. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. It's like investing in something, and then it ends up returning for you. But when it starts to return, it's tremendous. Like I had a client literally last month. We just launched their business a month and a half ago. They hadn't gotten a single lead, spent about $1,500. And I kept telling them, I was like, you're in a high profile space that they spend a lot of money in marketing on. You have to give the algorithm a chance to catch up, to see what your competitors have been falling short on, and allow your ad copy to stand out and meet the right consumer. And we literally got our first lead today, and he's already traffic on his website has quadrupled over a period of 2 weeks. So if you just give yourself the patience, it's tough, but with this huge trend of automated bidding is really changing the way that we can approach marketing in the future. It's doing all the science and the algorithms that people used to have to sit and analyze for days. And so, like I was saying here, it's changed so much, and it's already been a trend since 2016. And I really believe this is going to ultimately lead to the point where you're going to spend more money in the beginning to get yourself running, but your pay per click, your PPC performance will actually wind up being lower to acquire more clients, because it'll automatically adjust itself to ensure that you're not spending more than you're actually gaining in revenue. And you can set those as goals in Google. That's why I put your Google Ad scripts and Google Ads link checker, because they'll actually review the different links and copy that has been most successful and give you guys recommendations of what you can put within your Google Ads or in your copy on social media. Basis by Centro and Funnel.io allow you to develop different funnels of your ads and develop a strategy among how you're going to take each step of the relationship with the consumer, so that you kind of track everything and put it all into place, so that then the bots and the AIs do the rest of the work of optimizing the ads. And of course, Google Ads Manager. If you've never gone to Google Ads Manager or Google Analytics, it's very important to understand them and take a look at smart ads, do some research on them. That to me is a part of the future of advertising and management. It's actually going to make it to where you don't need people like myself to do the work, as long as you're confident and trust the system, even when it spends a little bit, and you take the time to write the right copy. And And drop those questions in the chat, by the way. I know that I'm going to get them at the end. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just rushing through this. I'm the kind of guy that like points in the audience, gets everybody engaged. So bear with me, but definitely write your questions in the chat. So number 4, which is actually something that it's more common than you think. And when I talk about it right now, you're all going to be like, wow, I do that all the time. So voice search is on the rise. How many of you have ever sat there and taken your phone out and said, Google, find me this. Siri, where is this? Okay, Google. That is now a part of marketing. Google is recommending things to you and retargeting you using your voice searches. But it has to translate your voice and your questions into algorithms and sentences and information within their software to then regurgitate solutions. So it's currently not a part of the overall Google algorithm, but it will be developing different results over time. They are plugging it in. They're plugging it in as phrases, but they're re-regurgitating it to work within their systems to give them the best solutions. But since it's available to some extent, it's really important that we start thinking very specifically and optimizing our copy, considering what we think people would voice to search. So if you've ever done a keyword search, an AdWords campaign, or if you ever considered doing an AdWords campaign, you could put like specific phrases. So it saves you a little bit of money. You're not just searching every little word in the sentence, but come up with what specific phrases are words and sentences that people would say to their phone. That might be different than what you're actually typing in Google. Because when you're typing in Google, you're usually really thinking through what you're about to search. When you're quickly saying something to your phone, it's a very fast, hey, give me this, I want this. And so you want to start thinking, what are people searching for your business, and adding that into your AdWords and into your website and into other areas of your SEO so that you start popping up when people are voice searching your business. And then overall, it's going to boost your traffic by staying more relevant to consumers. It's more conversational. I mean, that's the direction everyone's going in. You want these unique, customized journey for every client, which isn't something that's in the trends, but it's totally something that's moving forward. But having that customized, unique journey within voice search is also going to make a difference for you. Because people are going to start having full conversations with their systems to find out their days, plan their schedules, figure out what they're doing next. Virtual assistants overseas is almost going to be a thing of the past. I literally the other day I was engaging with a system called Clara that was a full-on system that did meetings, bookings, made decisions for me as I was asking them questions. And that's where Siri and Google and all these platforms are going. And you want to be within the search as a business. You want to make sure that if someone brings up something that's like, hey, I'm looking at fishing boats, what are the best fishing boats to buy? And you happen to be a business that sells fishing boats, you want to capture those keywords that they're asking within their search and then end up being their advertised to through Facebook or Google. So it's very important to keep this in mind. Different tools you can use to optimize your business for voice search is Answer the Public, which actually gives you voice searches, most common voice searches that people are doing today. So I really recommend if you ever are curious what the most common voice searches are. Google Trends, like I was saying before, this is what are people searching online most common. It doesn't have all the voice search specifically within the data, but you can search what the most common trends are within where you are currently and how they are potentially related to your business. It'll give you subtopics. So you can say, if you're a hairstylist, you can search haircut near me, and it'll tell you the trends and what states and what cities and who's searching the most and where are they searching the most and what are the other words they're searching. That'll help you a lot with how you develop your voice search. Google Search Console is very similar, but it's way more specific to the search console itself, like what are people typing in the search. Google Trends is more of people's interests and trends and overarching trends within society and locations. And then last but not least is Google My Business and your website, which I already recommended before. I'm just telling you the tool because in order to accomplish this, you need to use your Google My Business page and make sure your keywords are listed there and that your website is optimized for the type of questions that people would be looking for if they did it by voice. All right, moving on to number 5. Virtual events are here to stay. I miss in-person events. I literally was telling my wife, I don't even know, 2 days ago, where I was like, God, I just wish I was in the room. I'm so stoked for Bizfit. I got to say though, this entryway when you're walking in and like scheduling to go to the first speaker event is excellent. Shout out to Jonathan and the tech team for putting that together. It looks beautiful and it makes you feel like you're going to a real event. And that's the direction that businesses are going in the future. Virtual events and experiences have increased greatly in the last year, almost double to triple than what they were before. There's so many startups right now opening up just to provide services within the virtual event space. And if you've ever considered what you could do, a free access to consumers where you guys can host an event or an informational or do something along those lines, you will actually get more turnout now than you would have ever gotten in the past, because it's actually a part of the culture now to go to a virtual event. It used to be weird. There were so many people that would never attend like a Zoom event aside from a meeting for work. Now it's almost every single weekend, every single day. I literally was just at a bachelor party or whatever that it was a video game online. That was a virtual event, but online. So if you've ever considered of how you can expand your business with some of the trends happening today, think about how can you put up a virtual event or virtual experience that can engage your target audience. You can offer them more guest engagement, like right now, doing breakout rooms, allowing for questions, offering opportunities for guests to speak up. But things like that are very much a different approach to virtual events than they were before. What I saw in the past was a lot of people speaking and meetings and very organized. Now it's becoming a fun experience with breakouts and icebreakers and activities during the calls. So if you can host a virtual event and come up with fun, engaging ways to educate your consumers or educate the people that you want to connect with and build relationships with, it's actually essential in 2021 more than it ever was in the past. I would even put it on everyone's radar to plan one virtual event over the next 6 months. I think it's going to drastically change consumer involvement and generating revenue. I even think there's going to be ads on Zoom calls soon enough. I hope not, but I feel like it's coming. So if you want to get ahead of the trends, try to think about how you can do some virtual events and get involved in it. And some of the tools you can use is Zoom, Google Hangout and Meets. There's Skype. There's tons of them that are out there. I highly recommend Zoom, honestly. It's one of the best tools. It's very engaging and offers a lot of features. But it's definitely a trend. A lot of people ask me, why would you say that a virtual event is a part of marketing? Well, you're marketing your business through the event. I planned multiple free workshops throughout the pandemic just because I cared and I wanted to help out. That led to so many relationships that led to leads and opportunities for myself and my business. And it is marketing. It's a different way of marketing because back in the day, virtual events were just for meetings. You could do events online, but it wasn't nearly as impactful as it was in 2020 leading into 2021. Number 6, and we're almost at the halfway mark. I hope everyone's feeling good. We've got 6 more slides to go. So number 6, personalization is key to success in 2021 and on. In the past, when you were a consumer engaging with an ad, it was an ad that was pretty generic. A lot of people saw it. It was meant for your market, but it wasn't meant for you. Today is a whole different story. Back in the day, it seemed gimmicky. Back in the day, it seemed like everybody was kind of getting the same feel from the same company. Now you have to create a more individualized buyer's journey. You want to personalize every step of the way, from who they are, their interests, their impact, and dive deeper into it. I just did a campaign for one of my partners, and what we noticed is that their market was very, very interested in pets. Even though it was a real estate company, they had a huge impact with the market of pet lovers because a portion of their communities offered access to pets and allowed for pets at a certain size. We did a focused campaign with messaging to people with dogs, cats, different types of pets, and broke it down to a very specific consumer journey from text to email to ads to ensure that everybody felt like we cared about them and their snuffles, their little puppy. And that was the difference between us converting these leads and making them feel like we really cared about them before they even bought or before they even walked in the door. And it helped. It generated 10 times more opens and acquisitions and conversions than the original campaign did to a much more broad audience because we listened to the data and created those personalized journey. It takes time. It's probably one of the most time-consuming parts of the more recent trends, but it does help a lot when it comes to ensuring that someone feels unique and special, especially now more than ever. Landing pages, chatbots, Product recommendations and content are just a few of the different areas where you can do it and incorporate it. You could do it in emails and text messages, like I was saying. With a landing page, you can change the design of it depending on who the consumer is that you're engaging. For example, when we were selling the real estate, we made sure that for dog lovers, they got dog images. For cat lovers, they got cat images. Changing that up is the type of moving forward that you need to be doing in this day and age when it comes to online marketing. And some of the tools that you can use is Optimizely and Oracle are two different platforms that allow you to actually build consumer journeys and adjust the way the flow is with your consumer communication. BigCommerce, Wix, and general customer accounts are ways to utilize your websites and online platforms to create work funnels and re-engaging communication with them. I know that Wix and e-commerce specifically, or BigCommerce specifically, have a number of follow-up steps and communication tools to make sure that you're customizing the way that you're engaging with each audience, especially if you use a platform like an Oracle or Optimizely. We use Wix pretty often because it's very easy to use for the partners that we work with, but it really makes a huge difference. And the reason I recommend customer accounts is because you don't have to give a personalized journey only in the beginning to capture the lead. You have to develop a personalized journey to retain the lead. Like I was saying before, it's really essential now more than ever. So having people develop a customer account, put their preferences in, their past purchases, their experiences and communications with you will allow you to develop that continuous follow-up that's unique and personalized to them. So if you don't have a customer account on your website or a platform that you work with, consider it. It's not that hard to build nowadays with the new platforms that are out. So streaming will take the cake. Number 7 is one that honestly I didn't even jump on or think that it was going to be so lucrative or so essential to the future of marketing. But brands have shifted a majority of their media spend, not all, but a majority of their media spend in a number of cases to streaming and gaming platforms. This includes things like YouTube, Netflix, Twitch, Vimeo. If you've ever seen these platforms, you probably watched them at home during the pandemic. But 2021 and 2022, we have seen a drastic jump and a clear-cut interest in consistent streaming live information, like from gaming, running ads in the gaming Twitch platform, to doing ads on YouTube, to putting ads on different platforms like Netflix. Hopefully in the future, we'll be opening up as well, very aggressive opportunities for ads there as well, I assume. But having yourself online through streaming with good quality content, by the way, I have to say this. This is one of those areas where if you want to do streaming ads, if you're using something like Twitch, where the player or the individual is giving the ad for you, that's one option. But if you're going, or an influencer marketing where they are, it's not really in the streaming space. But if you're going to use YouTube or another platform to provide a video ad, make sure you do something that's decent quality. There are a lot of tools out there to help you do it, and I'll list some of them here, but take the time to build something that's really going to compel to your audience. Because now more than ever, they've seen that over millions, I mean, almost 161 million streamers every single month with minimal budget costs compared to TV and radio ads. I mean, this is like everybody always asks, like Instagram, Facebook to TikTok. TikTok is like the Wild West right now when it comes to algorithms because it's so cheap to reach hundreds of people, thousands of people. Compared to Instagram and Facebook, where you're spending a lot of money, it's very restricted, especially now. I'm talking about a lot of trends, so if you have any questions, just plug them in the thing. But especially now with the way that Facebook has restricted iOS 14 users, iPhone users on certain ads that you can get, those are the kind of things that are going to start happening on TikTok soon. But right now, TikTok is the Wild West, and that's what streaming is when it is compared to TV and radio ads. Streaming is almost like the Wild West, where it's cheap. It's not super cheap, but it's affordable enough to get to a very large audience that's very specifically interested in something that you are offering. And it's at a rate that's nothing like a TV or radio ad in the past that had very limited data. TV and radio ads have very limited data. Streaming does not. Streaming is just like other platforms where it's online, you're compiling consumer information. And one of the parts I personally like about streaming is it's also platforms like Spotify. I know I listen to music on Spotify. I know the majority of people that I'm familiar with have now transitioned to Spotify from Pandora, but ads on Spotify are another huge opportunity for a very, very affordable rate. So some of the leading platforms here are YouTube, Netflix, and Twitch, like I said, but there are many others. Spotify is one. Some tools that you can use. YouTube is actually run by Google. So if you plan on running a YouTube ad, use Google Ads. You can run the whole system through Google. If you're looking for something that is very affordable and want to test out your first ad on a streaming platform, I would recommend Twitch to start because it is extremely affordable. Spotify is also pretty affordable to get yourself off the ground. What's cool about both of those is with Twitch, the gamer community is very invested in the people they watch. So if that is an audience that you can appeal to, I recommend trying that. Some people have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're a nonprofit professional, they've partnered with people on Twitch and raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the same thing goes for Spotify. You can choose a podcast that's very niche to your audience and focus in on that and be able to reach consumers for a very affordable rate. And they're able to gather a lot of data on who's listening and how long they're listening for. Tools to use if you're going to do video ads, Animoto, Canva, and Ripple. Canva turns anybody into a graphic designer. It's kind of wild. It's taking a lot of my people out of business. But Canva is excellent. I recommend it to everybody. There are times where I even tell the interns in our office to just use Canva real quick because it saves you so much trouble and it's free. So if you've never used it, look it up. Animoto is really excellent too. It's a little bit more, I think it's like $20 a month, but it has custom templates for videos. And Ripple also is the same thing. It's like $10-20 a month, and it has custom templates where you can literally plug and play videos together. So if you're planning on doing any ads and want to put them out to the streaming stations, I recommend using some of these tools. Canva is probably one of the most successful ones when it comes to the graphic design side. It's a big trend right now in 2021. Now, you still probably need graphic designers for high level graphic design, and like I was saying before, make sure quality is there. So consider a production team if you're going to do it right. But it is options that you can use, and take a look at it. If you have questions, you feel free to ask me. Number 8 on my list is brands must cater to consumers' environments. The reason this is a trend is because back in the day, we would just cater to consumer interests. Not that we wouldn't consider environment, but interest was a key factor in getting and compelling to the people that we want to buy our products. People want to be spoken to, though, on a common ground. We have common stresses from 2020 to 2021. COVID isn't gone. The economy is still challenged. There's still a lot of people struggling, and there's a lot of things that are happening that are really good. There's no question. But there are a lot of people that are still dealing with the stresses and struggles. It is important for you, to understand the environment that your consumer's in and try to appeal to it. Be more understanding, be compassionate, connect with your consumer, make them feel like you resonate with them. Many of them lost their jobs, had family members pass away, political strifes that's been going on for years now. Offer them some reassurance. I used to show an ad here, a video of Guinness, that it was beautiful. It was during COVID, and they literally had people toasting from their home and in their yards and their offices, and they said, we've been around for over 300 years. Not 300 years, sorry, over 100 years. We're closing our doors because of COVID, but we're going to stay together. We're going to stay strong. And one day we're going to toast our glasses together again because we're Guinness strong. And that was something that I felt was powerful. It resonated with the consumer. It wasn't forcing them to buy their alcohol, but you can bet that people were interested in buying their alcohol because they felt like they understood them, connected with them, they wanted it. So think about your consumers, offer them reassurance when you can. It's not a weak point, it's an opportunity to connect. And again, I know I keep bringing up similar tools, but because they really are some of the most key tools that I've seen come to market in recent times. And some of them have been around for a while, but they've been updated extensively. So again, Google Search Console will let you know what people are searching, what struggles they're dealing with. If you're in a specific market, you can search the subject related to your business and then see what type of things people are searching for. Same thing with Google Trends. And then again, if you want to develop content that can connect and resonate with people, use Animoto, Canva, Ripple. And that'll allow you to connect. If you're using digital marketing, again, try to be creative, try to use some of these tools, and try to use the earlier tools for Buffer and Hootsuite and later. Schedule it out, but make sure that you're consistent and you're not just generic in your compassion. Like we were saying before, every customer needs that personalized journey. Number 9, we're almost to the end. Number 9 is augmented reality is becoming real. I actually, funny enough, I didn't think that people would be pushing advertising to this extent on augmented reality, but I've started to see some crazy future projections of what's going to look like for marketing utilizing augmented reality. And it's already been scratching the surface, and it's almost digging in now. And a lot of people are really connected with the trend. It's about to take over the medical space and a lot of other areas of our industries. So just in 2020, there was 171 million active VR users worldwide. 171 million. AR has to be incorporated into ads at this point. It's been plugged into apps and different platforms, and people are using it to watch movies, to connect with friends, to live a simulated life almost in some cases. So if you have the chance to advertise in a space that people are hooked to the system and you know they're watching, you want to come up with creative ideas to do it. You can do it either through VR or you can do it through AR. AR is the ability to use your phones and tools to create an augmented vision or visual in front of you, or an augmented experience. And a lot of people were doing it with the Pokemon Go craze. I'm sure some of you guys saw it or had friends who dealt with it. That probably was like the little inkling that everyone was like, oh wow, this is going to get really big. And it did. I mean, it really did. And it's starting to become even more trendy. You have businesses like Home Depot, Timberland, AMC, and Sephora all using augmented reality ads. And I know it's weird as a small business saying, all right, Ron, great idea, but we're small. What do you want from us? It's possible. And Facebook actually just put out Facebook AR advertising, a tool for small businesses to be able to develop ads like these. And I'm talking about things like if you're an interior designer, you could do what Home Depot did. They literally allow people to take their phone out in their home, select the product, and see it sitting in front of them in their living room through their phone. I have a company that I'm working with right now that develops custom vinyls, signage, and all that stuff. And we're trying to come up with experiences of how can we use augmented reality to connect with our audience. There's tons of companies doing that. I have a trophy company looking to do the same thing. I have a clothing apparel company. Actually, I connected with one in Israel a long time ago that actually was allowing people to hold their phone up and see a friend or a family member, or even in the mirror, a clothing article on you. That's augmented reality. And you want to be a part of that. That's a big trend for 2021. It's going to really evolve over the next 2 to 3 years. I don't even know how I'm going to get into it yet, but I'm thinking to myself is I got to capitalize on this market because the opportunity is huge right now. And different tools you can use is Argo, ArtKit 2.0. Those are all tools in Facebook AR advertising to develop your own augmented reality tools and advertising. And this can include even just having your listing augmented on different platforms over time. Like you see that person walking around in the streets, it looks like New York, and you can see their business listing. So you want to be involved in this. This is going to be a trend. I want to bet that majority of phones in the next few years are all going to be incorporating this into their systems, and their operating system is going to offer a lot of features through it. I know the glasses are coming out with augmented reality in the coming years. So really think about how can you be a part of this trend now more than ever. And last but not least, my favorite, influencers have influence, and they're influencing. Up to $15 billion, billion with a B, will be spent on influencers by 2022. I stop on this number every time because it shocks me. I used to, and for the audience that are on here, I'm sure that I'm right around where you guys are at with this, but I was like baffled by the idea of, oh, someone's on Instagram, they have 1,000 followers and now they're just making money. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it is so effective. I know it sounds weird, and I'm one of those guys that I had friends who became influencers, and I was like, all right, here comes Johnny. But no, it's amazing. It's actually the ability to connect with your consumer through someone or something that influences them, that they look up to, that they feel connected to. I'd rather buy something if someone I like or look up to or trust recommends it. Because literally, how many of you go to a business listing or go to buy a product, and one of the first things you do before you buy is look at a review? Now, you're taking a review from a complete stranger who just wrote it on Google. Imagine if you get that same review from an influencer, someone you look up to and someone you follow every day. That's a huge, huge impact. And people don't notice that. I rarely use that example because people don't really understand it unless they've ever looked for a review themselves. But you are trusting a complete stranger compared to someone you know and look up to and follow every day. I can name a few people that if they said to me, hey, buy this, I'll probably look into it. I'll probably be a little more interested than I would if I just saw Amazon and some guy saying, hey, buy this. So getting yourself out there through influencers is very difficult because there's a lot of them that are not as effective or don't have the reach that you're looking for. And I'm gonna give you some tools to make sure. But if you are even on the cusp of considering it, take a stab at it, but make sure you find the right people. And make sure you're using the proper content. Again, short form videos or live streams with the influencer perform the best. So if they can do a live stream with your product and post it out there, that's really successful. Or creating a short form video with them that they may post, not just like a picture or a general post with your product.